300 apiece.
And we won't look at those ones right now.
Very well, and he carefully tucks them away.
You said there was a ray of sickness. And
yes.
Other you said that I liked. What was it?
Sanctuary, speak with animals, thunder wave, misty step, jump, grease, detect magic, detect evil and good, or charm person.
I'll just look at the ray of sickness one right now, because in order for me to copy it in my spell book, it'll cost even more. So we'll just keep it
very well
right now. So I'll take that along with one healing potion. And do you happen to have any quarterstaffs?
Quarterstaffs? I believe I still had one or two tucked away somewhere. He reaches around, kind of leans over himself back towards his cart, and he pulls back a very solid, singular piece of wood, much finer make than your original quarterstaff. It looks to be an elm or something almost. One piece of wood, he says, if you're only interested in the one, it will run you 2 of the crown silver.
Perfect.
Anything else for you then?
I don't think so.
Well then, for your one healing potion as well as your spell scroll, that will be 110 gold pieces and 2 of the crown silver for the quarterstaff.
I can do that. No problem. Means 102?
110 for the scroll and the potion.
100. Okay.
And 2 silver for the quarterstaff.
I can do that.
When you get a chance, modify Yonic's breastplate. See, can't.
Are you asking the DM for help with your AC?
Yeah.
Okay.
DM, please. It went from 14 to 16, but...
Ha! It was cursed breastplate. I forgot to tell you. I meant to tell you.
Did you check the box saying that you were wearing it?
Damn it.
Yes, it is important to check.
Breastplate.
That is so weird.
Did you drag it in or add it? Because it looks like you just typed in the name breastplate.
Typed it in, but I can't seem to add it.
Because you got to add the stats for it. See where it's AC, now it's 14 plus Dex, as I'm filling it in. Dex limit to X. -16, 16, yes. That should do it.
Awesome. You're the best team ever.
That'll cost you an additional 20 gold.
Right.
Get
your peers'
down
attention.
by the DM. Damn.
Steps over towards Zephyr. And for you, my darling, anything I can get for you?
Give me your lunch money, nerd.
No, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Are you certain? Your friend's discount did ride upon this deal.
Oh, you
Yes,
required me
anything
to
we
buy
buy,
something.
just buy.
You might as well get your own potion, Zephyr. You're going to probably need it.
Yeah, I did use my last one. I was hoping to buy you a new couch, Bickerstaff. Oh well.
Don't worry.
I'll stand
I'm afraid I'm fresh out of couches. Our standard healing potion will run you 50 gold pieces.
I guess I'll take that.
What's the contractor's name again? He just left.
I'm afraid I do not know. I must have just missed him on my way in.
Wasn't it Lee?
Lee, that was his name. Thank you, Phelan.
And that's
Oh.
2d4, right?
Yes.
E4 plus 2.
Plus 2. Anything else I can get for you while I'm here and of service?
Look at there. I'm broke in real life.
He reaches up towards his turban and he produces another tarot card and he hands it out towards Phelan.
I will take that.
My card.
Yes, thank you so much, and we will be calling you again in the future, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And if there's anything I can do to be of further service, now would be the time to let me know if there's anything that your heart yearns for that lies out there that I can procure for you. Now would be the time to tell me rather than to make waste of another card simply for discussion.
Well, I am always looking for spell scrolls, so any interesting ones you come across. I do have a love for the necromancy spells, so...
Noted.
This is happening during the long rest, technically.
Okay.
If I believe.
Do we always
This is happening. You guys have been in the inn for less than an hour. And it's still about like 3 p.m.
Right, but we started the long rest, right?
You started it, yeah.
Yeah.
Very well, so a greater variety of spell scrolls for you. And for you, sir, any additional arms or armaments you're looking to procure?
Hey, you talking to me? Or?
He does seem to zone out a bit, doesn't he?
Yes.
You lost in that new armor of yours.
Oh, yeah. I'm flush. Thank you, sir.
I do have one more thing. How much would it be to silver a weapon magically?
Silver weapon magically, I believe that runs ordinarily about 300 gold pieces.
You mean something like this? Psh! Pulls out his short sword.
As it starts glowing, Yolpia shields his eyes for the briefest of moments. I'm afraid something like that could cost more for the additional effects.
Sure.
But the blade itself... Why, my dear, have you something that you wish to have silvered? As Lucas is gone.
And he's gone.
And it's gone. And that's why I was saying, at the very least, that's why it could be most beneficial to avoid silvered weapons at all costs.
Because they're expensive.
Anything else I can do for you?
I think he wanted everything severed. Everything.
Silver shoes, silver bar stools.
Yeah. Question. We're gonna be getting the inn up and running. Do you deal in like rare, inexpensive liquors and other things of that nature that we could have, like, top shelf?
Oh, I do love that question, Bickerstaff.
No, Phelan, you can't have any.
Calm down, Phelan.
It's for the customers.
I'm a paying customer.
Speaking on behalf of one businessman to another, I could tell you that ordinarily I do not run such trade practices. But if your location could be the first among my stops made within the city, it would make for an easier offload before having to wander around with it. It could be done.
Oh, you're always welcome here at the Phoenix Feather Inn.
Any varieties of beverage that you're interested in?
Bickerstaff kind of turns to the group. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I love
Yeah.
wine.
Wines, liqueurs, meads.
Any wine, any
Can I
wine.
do a
Red
history
wines.
check for food or a food check for like fine dwarven whiskeys or something like that.
Honey mead for me, please.
Roll me a history check, Zephyr. Sure.
Woohoo!
We should.
That's really great. History. What did I got for history there? A 0. So that's an 8.
0 for an 8. I mean, the local area isn't really known for any particular brew or beverage. There are a couple of the local breweries and the like, but nothing that's really stood out among the area or kind of the immediate surrounding locales.
We're gonna need a fine bottle of scotch, and then we want some what a wine for Phelan.
An entire barrel of wine.
They come in bottles,
Right.
Phelan.
I could have swore I remember something about a sand cake something or other.
I could look into it.
But exciting things, things that would stand out if somebody's like you have. Oh, that
I
something
know.
that would evoke that kind of a reaction.
How
Would be
that-
great.
How about something for Fizzbang? I've heard those are really, really great drinks.
I'm afraid that most of the previous Fizzbang beverages that I've brought within the city were incredibly distasteful for most of the customers, as it seems one typically must have a series of draconic taste buds in order to best enjoy its flavors.
That makes sense. I did hear it from draconic individual.
Here you would have it.
Well, what's something that is not normal to the region? Bickerstaff, you would know. Like maybe because we're not in a tropical region, right?
No, it's
Or in the
very,
temperate zone.
yeah, very much kind of plains about the area.
Maybe
A
something.
few days travel north, there's the Forgotten Forest, an ocean to the south.
And basically, you're in Illinois.
More or less.
Corn country. Got it. Oh, you know what? There's it's from
heard-
my home island. Actually, it's a saltwater brandy. It's smooth. It has caramel notes with sea salt mixed in. I think that would be a nice change of pace from what we have around here.
Taffy liquor.
Taffy liquor. Yes.
He gives you a once over. I don't have many contacts near the cliffs of Utia, but I could certainly look into it.
One I have heard of is from far to the east. Was a group of individuals that would make a kind of wine, but from rice, and it was very, very tasty. It's been a few hundred years since I've had that, but I would like to have that again.
I could bring some Aberstanian rice wine. Certainly.
Oh, Averstead. That's where that's from? I never knew.
The Empire of Aberston. It's a popular beverage over there.
Yeah.
I would love to be an importer of fine foods and beverages, Bickerstaff.
Well,
You're talking about
that could go,
sake.
it would be very good, but it could go one of two ways. Either people will want to try it, or they'll be really upset.
Well, as long as they pay
Perhaps we
first,
should
that's all
stick
that
to
matters.
just beverages for now. We'll see how that goes. And if things go well, we can talk about procuring varieties of foods or spices and the like.
I guess we'll see how popular our queen is.
Certainly.
Anyways, I'm going to go lay down and take a rest. Thank you, Pierre.
Thank
Yo,
you.
Are you hungry?
I could eat.
I'll bring up an extra serving of the stuffed mushrooms that I made last week.
And he picks it up and kind of looks it over like a food critic almost, closely examining a number of the elements that have gone into it before taking one bite. That is an interesting combination of flavors. Where did you learn this recipe?
I learned that one from, I kind of looked towards Yannick. I learned that from some wood elves when I was going down the coast.
I might have to visit there. If it's anything like this. And he takes the second bite and he's slowly finishing it.
I'm sure it's probably better. You know, you can only get so many fresh ingredients here in the city.
Indeed, indeed. I'm working on it, of course, but these things take time. Now, if there's anything else I can do for any of you, elsewise, I do have more business to tend to, and a list of items to look into. So I bid you all farewell as he takes another bow and his cart inches forward as he does so, before turning back around, grabbing hold of his cart on either side, lifting up and making his way back out the double doors.
It's lovely seeing you.
I look forward to hearing from you all again.
Stay dry in the rain.
I'll try to do so as he pushes open the front doors, and now you can see that the rain is starting to sprinkle down outside as he walks out, closing the doors behind him.
Zephyr just thinks, I didn't know we had double doors in the front.
Zephyr, I didn't know you knew wood elves.
Not personally.
I feel like you have to know them personally for them to tell you their cooking secrets.
But you know him now.
I know one now, yes, and you're a delightful person, and unfortunately, not so delightful things happened, when I was around those wood elves, so.
Like what?
Yes.
Well,
Do tell.
I, as Phelan knows, I am a pirate, a former pirate, and my crew had gone to their village / grove in hunt for new recipes and ingredients, as well as treasures, and I was too young at the time, but they sacked the village and found the recipes and took them back with them.
Wait, so your people killed the wood elves for these recipes?
I do not know if they killed the wood elves. Generally speaking, they only killed those who resisted. But it's more of we stole what was there.
They gave us treasures. Beads.
Yeah, I mean, my pirate crew was food first and treasures second, so
You guys were
they
food
were out
pirates.
to learn more than anything.
Interesting. And was this, I assume, before Corbin? You said you were younger, so.
Yes, this was before my crew met its unfortunate demise.
BC, before Corbin.
Yes, before Corbin or before crew? Yes, before Corbin. Yes, this was 17 BC.
So all those people you were running with, they were slaughtered by Corbin, or how exactly did that happen?
They were slaughtered by Corbin's captain. I don't quite recall his name. Corbin was working on a pirate ship
Didn't know
for the
Corbin had a
slavers,
captain.
the pirate slavers, the Black Masts. And,
Readers.
yeah, and unfortunately I was the most unique body on board. And so they thought I could fetch a fair price.
So Corbin worked under someone at one point? I always thought he ran things.
He was the first mate of this particular vessel.
Do you remember the vessel's name?
Or the captain.
It's in my backstory. A moment. I might need to sleep on it, but
That's
just
reasonable.
let me think on that for a second.
It's been a long day, and we've done
It's
a
been a
lot
very
today.
long day. I'm sure Ryan has it, but I can find it.
I always assumed that Corbin was the captain of
No,
the
he
ship
was
that
definitely
took you
not
over.
the captain. And he was very
Damn it,
rude.
you know this shit at a moment's notice. Just pull it up.
So Corbin's still the one that cut your leg off, though, right?
Yes. Or at the very least, he had a hand in it.
And then they left you on somewhere?
The captain's name was
Sure.
Brom.
Rom. I knew a little child named Rom once.
And the vessel was the Tyrant.
Tyrant.
Yeah.
Have I heard of the Tyrant, DM?
Roll me a history check.
History. 21.
21. You have heard of this scourge of the seas, known as the Tyrant, the flagship of the Black Mast pirate crew. They're known for sacking cities and leaving behind one survivor, most commonly. They will occasionally sink the opposing pirate ship and crew and likewise leave one survivor, effectively to spread the tale about all the horrible things that they did throughout.
Well, you're very lucky to be the one survivor, Cookie. I hear that they very, very destructive group they are.
Oh, yes, that they are. Unfortunately, I had to sail on their vessel for several months.
You cooked, they forced you to cook for them, didn't they?
They did, yes. And well, force was part of it, but their crew was starting to starve, and the men didn't know any better. It was the leaders who were in charge, so I decided that I wanted to cook for them.
So, you say their men didn't know any better, so you really believe that the men who work on this Black Mask pirates, they're not all bad, like Corbin?
Well, they're pirates, so as good as a pirate can be, everyone has their codes, but the captain is the one that gives the orders. They're essentially soldiers in an army.
Yannick is in this conversation.
Yeah, you're here.
You're in the room.
Yeah. We don't have anywhere to sit, so we're all just kind of standing
We're all
around.
just standing at the bar, drinking invisible
Bickerstaff
wine.
went back to his chair, though.
It's like, yes, everybody is totally innocent. Yeah, that is the gist. Even though I find your practice of stuffing dead bodies or working on them, yet you have this ability to find the good in literally everybody, even when they're attacking us.
Well, the reason I steal the bodies, I don't steal them per se, but the reason I get them is because I want to get more information from them. If I could get more information from the dead bodies, then perhaps I could help them, or they could help me with plans that we try and do, with information that I wouldn't have had otherwise. I don't steal them just to steal them. I have reasons. I'm not...
Search for a purpose. not
It's
just
for a purpose, exactly. There's more to it than just I want to cut open people. I actually despised the cutting open part for a long time until Daldrick showed me over and over again how I'm supposed to do it, because I did it wrong for quite some time and he scolded me quite often. But eventually I learned, oh, there's a science to this and it's not as bloody and gory as it needs to be. It's actually very interesting to see how one part of the body helps the other work. And so when I take these bodies, the part I want to find is the piece that's missing, that, when people die, no one knows where they go. And so I'm trying to bring them back to talk to them so I can figure out, what happened to them. Maybe people who are dead have nothing more to lose. So I feel like maybe they're more willing to speak with us than they would be if they were alive and still had everything to lose. I mean, if they're dead, I could torture their souls for all eternity, or I could give them a peaceful slumber for the rest of eternity. So maybe they'll be more willing to give us information.
Breathe. Calm down.
I think there's a period in that sentence somewhere.
Yes.
Somewhere. It gets lost.
But it does my soul good to know that you have a purpose for what you're doing, rather than just blindly doing it.
Yes, of course.
So it's for the greater good.
I'm not Daldrick.
Daldrick, on the other hand.
He does enjoy cutting up bodies, and you just have to understand him, really. But,
No. We're talking about you. Daldrick is not a part of the party. But it does me good to know that when you grab a body, it's for the greater good. So that puts my mind at ease. So we can move forward with that. And
well, I'm glad
makes
that
me
you don't
happy.
think I'm a monster. I appreciate that.
Yes, because I was starting to wonder.
I can definitely see where, if you don't understand what I'm doing with the bodies, how you could maybe not understand what I'm doing with dead bodies and think it's very strange. Yes, I can see that point very easily. But most people don't ask, so I don't bother telling. It's a long story. And I don't know people that well. You're the first people I've talked to other than Daldrick in a very long time. That Leanna's guard, I really didn't leave the manor much.
It's kind of the nature of the job where I ask questions.
Yes, that makes sense. You're like a detective.
Yeah, kinda. I hadn't got that, but I'm still wondering about Bickerstaff. I still don't know about him.
Oh, there's much to learn about that mysterious old man. There's much I don't understand about him either. But I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I did have one more question for you, Cookie, before we drop the topic completely, just because I'm interested in everything you're talking about. You mentioned this Brahm. Do you happen to know what happened to him after they left you abandoned on some island where you only had sea turtles to escape by?
Ryan, can I do some kind of check to know if I've heard something from other pirates once I got off the island?
Roll me a charisma check.
I just assume anyone
I'm rolling like shit. 7.
that is Corbin.
7?
Yeah. I'm gonna die tonight, guys.
No.
I mean, the occasional story about these ships with the black masts twinned with the black sails still drifted up on various regions of the coastline, but
yeah, it's just
you didn't
standard
really
tales.
hear about Captain
no concrete
Brahm
information.
Nothing for certain. Hard to tell if it was just one liar or one survivor,
Yeah, right. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, I do not know what happened to him. And bless you, by the way. But yeah, the only thing that I have left from that is a missing leg and a shard that they put in my head. That is it.
It is, because if I remember correctly, they left you on some deserted island, yes?
They did, yes.
So I find it crazy in the entire world that you just so happen to end up back in MistHaven, the same exact city Corbin Reed's running rampant in. I mean, were you trying to get here specifically, or was that just like a...
No, this is one of the largest port cities in the area.
Oh, see, I don't travel too much to know that. I've been stuck underground for a long time, so I didn't realize.
No, I figured. Well, I was coming back with Bickerstaff because he was on the vessel that I got rescued on. But
oh, he was.
He was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he helped rescue me.
You guys have known each other for so long.
Not that long, unfortunately. I was on the island by myself far longer than I was with Bickerstaff. I've only actually been in the city a couple months.
Really?
Yeah. So I didn't even know that Corbin was here. I was on the island for many years by myself.
What did you do on an island all by yourself?
Survived.
Were there beasts on the island as well?
Oh, many beasts, yes. Do you remember that shield that I had that was made out of a turtle shell?
Yes, the turtle.
Yeah.
That's how I do those.
I had to kill that turtle in order to survive.
It was a very large turtle.
It was a very large
turtle. It tried to eat you?
It tried. It had very big...
You know, turtles ate people?
Beak, I guess? Yeah.
No, it was a very cute turtle. It winked at people, was very happy. But
it was quite delicious in a stew, though, I'll tell you that.
I've heard turtle soup is exquisite.
It was delicious.
So, that's metagaming, Amanda. You can't ask.
There's a rush of footsteps that come flying down the stairs as Dodger is now rushing in, still wearing the kind of half-worn uniform of the Emerald Enclave. She's kind of in the process of tucking it back up into place, as it was still a bit of an oversized uniform. She's having a little difficulty putting the pins back that were holding it a little tighter against her form.
I forgot we sent you upstairs, Dodger. I didn't buy you any more clothes. I'm sorry.
As she comes rushing downstairs, she's pointing towards the front doors. If we don't go now, we're going to miss our opportunity. It's going to be flooding the lower levels of the sewers, and they're going to be stuck in there with as long as this storm takes to accomplish their goal.
I missed all that.
The rain! It's raining outside!
Yes, it's raining outside. What?
Rain trickles down through the sewers, draining from the streets above and filling the lowest levels first.
So we can't go in the sewers when it's raining? Is that what you're trying to say?
We can go now and we might still be able to catch them. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait out the storm.
Dude, come on.
Do we have a weather channel? Do we know how long the storm is going to last?
You could try a nature check.
A nature check.
Yes, I will too.
How is a 6? I've rained for years.
What is my nature?
I don't know.
If I can +1. Jesus. 11.
I have
11.
21 nature.
21. Phelan and Yannick, this is looking like you should probably just brace yourselves. It could be some time. Zephyr, it looks like it should clear away in a couple of hours. No problem.
I kind of stick my head outside.
It's gonna last forever.
It's gonna rain for years. I bet you that the whole city's gonna flood. That's
just stick my finger out and feel the wind, or stick my hand out, and it should be passed by midnight. The pressure is not that great. It's not going to be staying.
I mean, if it rains that long, won't it wash out the sewers and then he'll be on the move again?
I'm sure he's in a room that's well fortified. If he's working out of the sewers, he's had to have planned for this for at least a little bit.
I'm going to look to Dodger. Has he planned for rain? I mean, you're in a hurry,
I
clearly.
see no reason why he couldn't have anticipated it.
Well, he does anticipate a lot of moves. Oh dear, dear, dear. I hate being rushed. I'm so bad with it. You know, when people are dead, you can't rush the dead. They're already dead, you know? It's just simple. And just make these life-changing decisions on the spot like this. I'm terrible with it. Absolutely terrible. I know.
No, you're not terrible with it.
I
Gave
still,
us the foresight of calling out the guard. I appreciate that.
I still believe that we need to be at full strength if we're going to go take on a Requisitor.
Well, I
I
think
second
the
that.
Requisitor's gone. The tiefling helped us with that. Remember, Zephyr? You were a small
Yes,
spider. I know your
but-
eyesight is really bad.
But
We don't
the
move
Requisitor
toward-
has Corbin Reed with him, which means they're going to be getting back to wherever their laboratory is, which is apparently in the sewers, as Dodger said.
No, the Requisitor is gone. The tiefling
The
took care of
Requisitor
him.
had the handkerchief that supposedly that Reed walked through, or is currently being stored in.
Can I? I don't think I
I
did
would
it during
say
the
that's
fight. Can I
portable.
do an Arcana check to see if I know what spell he cast on the Requisitor? To know if it was like a dead spell or if it's like a.
Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check at disadvantage because you didn't understand the language.
Natural one.
That is our Phelan.
Arcana.
You have
Trying to fail.
no idea.
I mean, that's definitely possible. I don't want to go to a Inquisitor with half strength, but I do have this lovely new spell scroll, but I need at least an hour to copy it into my spell book, and I can't find it on Roll20 to drag it over, so I have to look it up and put it
So
in.
it's one of those ones that's not in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but that means if you copy it in and you don't have the spell slots to cast it, you can't cast it.
Oh. There's that too.
What spell did you get?
Isn't it a cantrip?
Oh,
Which one? Ray of Sickness is a
Ray-
first level.
First
Damn
level wizard spell.
Never mind, I lied. You're right, Bickerstaff, in your sleep, you're right too.
I mean,
He's gonna wake up, you
I'm
can't
just
cast
trying
that
to help
spell slot.
out a spell casting class. It's kind of complicated.
Well, you're right.
The meta pigeon.
Sheet. I
say we rest.
mean, we really don't have a
We
choice.
go in
have
at
to.
nightfall, and I think we'll be just fine.
Dodger, do you think you could lead us through the sewers to him, or would it be best taking the roads? Because whereabouts above ground does that plant us trying to find him? Like, do you know what buildings it be located by? I'm gonna point to the map on the wall that we magically have that one of us put up one day. There's a map of the city that we can easily navigate when we're talking.
Do you
Well, I
have
can tell
minor
you with
illusion?
absolute certainty that it is somewhere within this general vicinity, she says, gesturing over the entirety of the city.
That's
Somewhere underground, and the deeper you go, the more twisted and turned around you get. I can lead you there, but I
Where
don't
is
know
the-
where it is in relation to the surface.
Where would we start? What sewer?
Presumably the nearest entry point. And once something looks familiar, I should be able to take the lead from there.
well, then definitely we want to get our rest because I do not want to go into the sewers half-heartedly because we've seen quite some very large rats down there. And that's all really you need is one bad rat bite. I've seen terrible cases of dead people from rat bites. And then there's dead people. I've seen dead people in the sewers too, walking around. So I definitely agree we have to rest. We don't really have a choice. I know we're on a time crunch here, but I mean, we can't kill him at our strength now, unfortunately.
She lets out a heavy sigh. If we're going to be resting, then can I make 2 requests? The first, can one of you lend me a torch to make use of down below? I'm afraid my own eyesight is inferior compared to your elven compatriots.
Down below, as in the main area?
the sewers. They're incredibly
Oh.
poorly lit.
I mean, wouldn't they be poorly lit during the day anyway?
Yes, which is why I need a torch.
Oh, but of course.
I don't have one, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll make sure she's got a torch. Certainly.
And the second request, could someone tend to this? She gestures up at the large gash she has in the side of her face that she took in the last combat. It stopped bleeding, but it's still something to be dealt with.
Yes, I will gently stroke her face and cast Cure Wounds on it, and she gets 7 hit points back.
7 hit points back. Right.
So are you saying while we're resting, you plan on going down to the sewers alone?
No, she just can't see in the dark like me, Phelan.
I don't favor suicide to
Okay,
save my
I'm just thinking
sister.
fast, like, that's very dangerous. You should know that better than everyone. But yeah, okay. No, we're good. We're good. I'm gonna... Okay.
Unfortunately, humans are not gifted with the same sight as you elves. And when we descend into the depths of such darkness of the sewer tunnels, our sight is almost entirely worthless in the natural light.
You know, Bickerstaff has the same problem, but I think it's just because he's old.
How old is he? He certainly seems to be well up there.
You know, we never had that conversation with him, but I think we should very soon. Definitely. He just sleeps all the time. I mean, I can never talk to him. If I throw a shoe at him, he'll wake up, though. I've tried it once.
You don't even know how old he is. How long have you worked together?
About a week. Maybe 2 weeks now.
Week.
2 weeks now, almost.
Weeks.
I think Yannick, we've had Yannick for about 4 days. What, 5 days?
Zephyr's gonna kind of override the conversation and with a cough. Dodger, now is not the time for questions. We need to get rest. We have a long
We
night
have
ahead of us.
several hours to wait, it seems. You have better means of passing the time.
Yes. Sleep.
Then go get your sleep.
She's so rude. I'm gonna go back to my room. And when I close the door behind me from the cellar, I kind of want to look at the location where I went when I explored a little bit, and just take a peek down there and see what's up. See if anything's
All right.
out of the ordinary.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Ooh! Natural 20. That's 25. You like that, Nick?
As you start making your way down, being a bit more primal with the kind of tribal sense that you grew up with, you're starting to pick up the almost natural impulse that comes with most storms. And with it, you can hear these sounds of smaller creatures and the like starting to move and skitter about, presumably relocating to avoid the coming storm, to avoid some of the flood waters that will be shifting and changing about in these sewers below.
Okay. And we have no idea where we're going. Okay, I just hearing that and feeling that, I'm gonna go back upstairs and make sure I latch it or however, and then I'll go to sleep for the rest of the night. Or
Rest of the day.
no, rest of the day. Yeah, day sleep.
All right. Phelan and Yannick, two of you doing anything else while the party finishes this long rest?
Oh yeah, got a whole on itinerary. Gotta take stock of the house. Gonna go through each and every. No, I'm just kidding.
You find one chair. It is occupied.
Actually, Yannick will go back to base or whatever. Check in.
The Citadel?
Yeah,
In a
Citadel.
rainstorm, you wouldn't get a long rest if you did that.
Would I not? I only have 4 hours.
We talked about this last time, remember?
Ah. Alright,
You only
screw
need
that.
4 hours of sitting still.
I was totally gonna metagame that shit, but alright.
Nope.
Now Yannick will just chill out and get us 4 hours for a long rest.
All right. Is anyone keeping an eye on Dodger?
I am definitely hanging around Dodger because I want to talk to her a little bit more. But my
Alright.
Skype really glitched out on me bad there for a minute, so I was kind of letting it catch up with itself.
Well, Phelan, the ball is in your court. Your friend's usually this tired.
Oh, fuck. Skype is like really, I can't hear anything you're saying. I'm sorry.
If Zephyr had a pan right now, she'd just say, "Yes, I am," and she throws a pan across the room.
I'm going to try and restart it.
All right.
Back.
So they talked through the night.
Yeah, we might have to retcon this conversation as the party, one by one, starts coming to, looking outside. It seems the rain has come to a stop and the sun has set outside.
Oh, for DM purpose.
Yeah.
So this is 1 week. So Yannick gets how much in card pay?
It's not been a week yet, Yannick.
Damn it! All right.
Dude, you ain't
1
lying.
week ago, the
You
party
get
first
nobody.
met Cassandra Creed and also first met Dodger.
Literally, it's been 2 months.
That's where that 20 gold you started with came from.
Oh, I dispensed of a healing potion. I would think,
Bickerstaff
back
will wake
in.
up and do his stretches.
yeah, I would think he would go back in and ask for more supplies or
Go back
ammo,
in where?
or
Are you leaving the inn? I guess is my question.
is it going to interrupt my 4 hours of sleep?
Yes.
It's going to interrupt your long rest, yes.
Then no, I don't.
Okay, then you're not going to get that health potion. You're not going to get re-upped by the Citadel unless you go to the Citadel.
I hate y'all. All right.
Unless Yannick has a means of teleportation at his availability, he could certainly make use of that to get to the Citadel and back.
He totally does. His brother that he's been searching for left him a ring of teleportation.
Huh?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have let the party murder your brother down in that deep pits of that dungeon.
Now
What
it's
are you talking about? That was a John Doe. That body was never identified.
Yeah, exactly. Not by you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't
Don't
know.
worry,
It's not
later
John
on my
Doe.
desk
It's John
right
Doick.
John Doe.
But, yep, Bickerstaff, as soon as he's feeling better, he's going to go around and wake everyone up and say, all right, we have no time to waste. Let's get going.
We retcon since
Yes, Amanda, we're retconning it because your Skype was all glitchy. For everyone else, don't forget to click that long rest button. Re-up your abilities.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
You have to hit dice.
Of course, as soon as I freaking go to do stuff, it starts to glitch out on me again.
Tell your man to quit looking at things on the computer.
He doesn't even know the password on my computer.
He's not allowed on the internet.
Unless he's looking at some car parts.
Yeah, exactly. He has to ask me first. No. Okay.
Wow.
Dodger, here we were. Since everyone else has left us to go to sleep, I figured us girls could have a late night chat because I'm a chatty Cathy. What can I say? I'm really good at talking. And since, maybe there's no other prying ears, maybe we can be more trusting of each other. Just gonna
Her
lay.
eyebrow just kind of arcs as she crosses her arms, leaning back up against the wall.
Persuasion.
What do you want from me?
I can't shake this feeling, Dodger. You were Corbin's right-hand man. I just can't shake this feeling that you know more about the Queen's brooch than you've told me. And I completely understand.
I can't shake the feeling that you're not as well versed about Corbin Reed as you think. I was one of his underlings. He never looked at me as an equal or partner of any kind. I did his bidding, hoping to get what I wanted out of it, and he absolutely made use of me however he saw fit. I was a tool and an object for him, little more. A means to an end.
Is that why you decided to tell us where Sanji was? To sort of rebel against him in your own way. That was a lovely sound.
Sanji is just a kid. He doesn't deserve to get mixed up in all this.
I completely agree. Oh, there's puke.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I don't know what that lizard folk did to me.
it's the worst.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh.
Well, we might have to return to this conversation later.
It's okay.
That's awesome.
We'll be doing a series of flashbacks about this conversation.
Every question and answer, there's a flashback.
Yes. Oh, it's okay. I'm prepared. I have towels.
Oh, it's so nice when they stop doing that. Oh man.
All right. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
One day.
So,
My
sorry
son
about
would
the
save it for
doctor.
me when I came home from work. He wouldn't puke all day, and then as soon as I'd grab him, oh, thanks, son.
He got excited. God, that got everywhere. Okay. So
Tell your baby to stop metagaming. We know that she's hiding something.
Yeah, boy.
just puke it up already.
Oh, he knows this happening.
All right, Doctor. So, where is the nearest sewer to here?
Well, I spotted one about 2 blocks away when we hopped out of the carriage. If you're all rested up, I think that's a good place to start as any.
All right. Well,
Did Bickerstaff wake me up yet?
yeah, I said I woke everybody up.
Oh, okay. Well, when we come out, I'll say, oh, there's an entrance to the sewers in my room.
What? I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Me neither.
Phelan, you of all people should know that girl has to keep some secrets.
I'm gonna look to Dodger. And then look back like, yes, I completely understand. Every girl has her secrets. But I swear I've looked over this entire inn. Maybe, that's where that weird spider creature came in through. That was an entrance we didn't look. Anyways, so are we?
Concerned about spider creatures.
Yeah, there was some sort of spider creature that came through and was trying to get into Bickerstaff's stuff.
There's a mechanical spider,
Perhaps
if I
you
remember
could
correctly.
look into the local market stalls. They often have a variety of anti-infestations to keep smaller rodents and
it was a-
insects.
Clockwork spider, Dodger.
I want to read
Do
her
you know anything
expression.
about that?
Roll me an insight check, Phelan.
12.
12. She looks confused.
I think that was from that one
At-
guy.
At Clockwork Spider?
I would think Zephyr would roll insight.
Yeah, I didn't even hear that she was checking for one. But yeah, like clockwork spider. And if she's still going on about it being a pest, then I would like.
No,
to...
I would think Zephyr, just by what you said, was like, what?
Well, perhaps our friend Yannick has something to say. I think he's not telling everything that he has to say.
Alright, fine. I'll do insight. No.
Yannick, were you here with the spider?
No, the spider was before him.
I came the day of, or day after.
I think you saw the smashed remains on the table. Yannick, did you send that spider in here? Because it's very awfully suspicious that it came as soon as you did.
Okay, look. We know who sent the goddamn spider is the person that tried to buy the brooch from us. Now, can we please get down into the sewers?
I'm just not in a hurry to die, Bickerstaff.
For once, I think I find myself agreeing with your senior friend.
Fine, we'll go to the sewers. Cookie, show us the secret entrance in your room that no one knew about.
It's all like not so secret. At the foot of the bed, there's a giant door that leads down to the basement. Just walk in.
Like a giant door.
Yeah. So I'll walk in and open up the trapdoor down to the...
Zephyr throws open this trapdoor, and there looks to be a very disused ladder that leads down into the depths of this dripping set of tunnels. Who's going to be the first down? Effectively, who's taking the lead?
Wait. Before anybody knows, Yannick will look for traps. Please.
Zephyr goes down the ladder.
Oh my god!
Alright. So Zephyr's taking the lead on this, and presumably Yannick following
Dodger to
Zephyr.
be right behind me.
Okay. How are you explaining this to Dodger?
Dodger, you're gonna tell me where we need to go, and I'm gonna make sure nothing's funny.
Lizard face, you're gonna give me that torch I needed. If you want my direction.
I have one for you, Dodger. Here you go.
Thank you.
I cast dark vision on myself.
All right.
I should just be able to click this and go down. Yo.
Ooh. As she sparks it up as soon as she gets down into the tunnel beside Zephyr.
Bickerstaff will pull out his sword, too.
All right. I assume Bickerstaff's the next down the ladder? Or Yannick before him?
Or Yannick probably wants to go before me.
Yannick is trying to do the best thing. So he's going when he can.
Yeah, I'll let Yannick go first. I'll go before
All right.
Phelan.
So Phelan's
Zephyr's
taking
like,
the
this is
rear.
my hole. I'm going in it.
Phelan, don't forget to cast your little alarm spell. Oh yeah,
Phelan?
she's not here right now. We're gonna say she probably wants
She's
to
being
do that.
extremely stealthy right now.
How long does that alarm spell thing take to cast?
10 minutes.
I
That's
believe
what
it's
cool.
instant if you cast it as a spell. 10 minutes if you're casting it as a ritual.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Let's
We
face
need
it.
all the magic.
If they're gonna come in, they're gonna come in anyway.
They burn it down. They burn it down.
Yeah. We'll just collect the insurance on it. It's all good.
No,
All
I
right.
place down.
What?
All right.
Said no, I like to place down.
So
put it on
I'm
the couch.
waiting on Dodger.
So Dodger hops down the ladder beside you, Zephyr, and she sparks up the torch. And as she does so, she illuminates this chamber that you were just starting to get sight of. It looks to be a medium-sized room, about 20 by 10 chamber that leads off in several directions from here. She takes a few moments and surveys the flow of the water. It's slowly trickling towards the north from where the inn is located. And following that trail, her light she puts forth towards that tunnel and just starts making her way that direction.
Okay.
And
I will follow, like, either right by her side if it's wide enough. If not, I'll be, like, one step behind her. Just enough to
all
give
right,
her room to lead. But I will be actively sniffing out while we're down here.
all right. Go ahead and roll me a perception check for that.
Yannick will also be looking
17.
for anything, traps or.
Yannick, go ahead and roll me an investigation check to check for traps.
Investigation +3. 18.
All right. And about how spaced is the party going to be? Like all crammed up as close as they can to one another, or spreading out, or?
I think we all want to be relatively close, but just moving slowly.
Yannick would be like at the forefront, like
Zephyr's in the front right
looking,
now.
pushing forward. He's right with Zephyr.
All right, so the three of you
5, 5, 5.
vying for the front position, it gets more than cramped in a few of these narrow tunnels that slim out for opening into other rooms. Swerving and turning, Dodger every so often takes a moment hesitating where the path splits, and she just kind of waits, closes her eyes as if thinking or remembering before setting off in her intended direction with purpose to her steps. As she's continuing to provide direction for the party, you guys are getting gradually lower and lower in the levels of the sewer. As you're noticing, you're not hearing the sounds of the city above anymore. There's no occasional pass by of a cart overhead. The faintest trickles of sunlight are long but gone. As you continue to slowly ramp your way deeper and deeper, as she's following the flow of the water further and further down into these sewers. Eventually, even the stonework that composes a number of these tunnels changes color and hue. And you're noticing you're walking through tunnels that are even more and more ancient.
Mm.
And I'm still waiting on that investigation check from Yannick.
You got an
Checking
18.
for traps.
Oh,
18.
yeah, 18.
Okay. As you guys are continuing to make your way further and further through these tunnels, Yannick, your eyes are the first to catch sight of what looks to be a thin string running along one of the passageways of a narrow tunnel. And Zephyr and Dodger are slowly making their way towards it. You just managed to catch a glimpse of it from Dodger's torchlight reflecting off of it.
Can I dismantle it? Or,
Currently,
stop the party.
How are you stopping the party? Describe what Yannick's doing.
I put my hands up as, Y formation. Just like, stop,
Dodger and I are in front of you, though, so we wouldn't be able to see you.
Well, I would grab, the scruff or whatever. If you're in front of me, I would grab and pull back.
When Yannick puts his hands up, Bickerstaff will telepathically to Zephyr say, Zephyr, stop.
I stop and I grab Dodger's hand. Grab her wrist.
She looks at you very confused.
And I'll put my finger to my
Yannick.
lip. And
Yannick, what do you say?
And Yannick will put his, as normal, 2 fingers to eye and point to what he's looking at.
Can Bickerstaff see what he's pointing at?
Bickerstaff, it's hard to make out, but about 6 inches from where Zephyr's standing, you see a very thin string of wire, about 3 or 4 inches up from the ground.
Bickerstaff will telepathically communicate with Dodger, and he'll say, Dodger, this is Bickerstaff, back here. Hello, wave his hand. There's a tripwire there in front of
Oh
you
my
that
God.
Yannick saw. That's why Zephyr stopped you. do have the means of taking care of that.
Zephyr, it seems that there's some sort of a tripwire at your feet that you almost triggered. Your friends are concerned about it, and if you need me to take care of it, I can try.
Yes, and Yannick might be able to assist you in that. He has very good fingers.
Well, come on then, now. Well, as you make your way up towards the trap besides Dodger, if you're going to try and assist her, this will be a check with... Do you have thieves' tools?
You suck. DM.
Are you proficient?
Our
yes or
rogue
no?
is missing today. God damn it. But you're dexterous, so I figured you might be able to help anyway.
I am dexterous, but I got.
So is that a no on the
Rope.
thieves' tools?
That's why Bickerstaff asked, asked her to do it.
No, I don't have tools. No.
Then it will be a dexterity check for you.
Go for the aid.
Which is Dex fine. Dex fine. Come on. 14.
14. The two of you together, one at kind of either end of the string, are able to kind of suss out this most simple trap, as it looks as though the string pulls round a series of bricks on the side of the wall up towards a empty tin can that sits up on a higher ledge, and effectively pulling the string knocks the can off, and he just makes a bit of a clattering noise. And so after you're able to follow this trail of where the string goes behind the brickwork, it's a matter of just a quick snip with your blade before the party is able to make their way forward once again.
We couldn't have dismantled it without
You did,
triggering it.
effectively.
You did.
That
You
was
snipped the
that
wire to
roll.
keep it from
You
pulling.
cut the
Without
wire.
making noise is what I'm saying.
By cutting the wire, you didn't trigger anything.
Okay. Yannick moves forward with the rest of the group and continues looking for anything.
All right, so Yannick's taking the lead.
How wide and how tall are the passageways through here?
About 5 feet where you guys are presently.
And
I
are they
think
like
we could
6 or
keep
8
the
feet
same.
tall?
It's a low crouch for Bickerstaff, as it's 7 feet at the tallest of the tunnels.
Okay.
Just keep the same marching order.
Yeah.
As I'm marking my triangles on the walls, can I be looking for previous marks we may have made other times? Like, just see if we came across any of the same ones that we marked previously.
I don't think we've ever been this deep.
I don't know. That's what I'm looking.
Balin, roll me a perception check.
7.
There's the occasional scratch or scrape along the brickwork. Nothing that looks to resemble the chalk marks that Garrett left previously. But after a brief scolding from Dodger, informing Zephyr to keep a more careful watch of her path,
As she was
Dodger,
half a step over it and I was behind her.
you were just that extra half step closer to it. But she effectively starts pointing down the tunnel. If we're nearing traps, perhaps we're getting closer. It shouldn't be too much further.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my senses out. Keep sniffing out for particular scents or non-sewer dwelling senses. You know, humans or like half orcs or that kind of thing.
Right. As you're continuing to, ever so faintly, this scent of humanoids is getting... It went from nothing at all to very, very faint.
Okay, I'm starting to get hints of it, and
Starting to get hints, not enough to like follow a trail, but Dodger effectively seems to be leading you in the right direction.
it's in the area. I'm just gonna silently cast Pass Without a Trace for us.
All right.
I'll whisper a couple words, and I'll kind of just look to the group and whisper, the shadows are with us right now. We're going to be slightly quieter, and we should be able to sneak up on them better. And so everyone gets +10 to their stealth checks.
If you
And
want
I
to
intend to
clear
move
the
stealthily
shadows, do you want me to douse this torch?
If you need additional light, I can provide it for you. At first sniff of something that I can smell that is getting dangerously close, I'll tell you to put out your torch.
All right. With that, can I get a stealth check from everybody? Zephyr starts leading this direction a bit more quietly.
That's a 30 for Zephyr.
Nice.
23 for Phelan.
23 for Phelan.
13 for
Natural.
Bickerstaff.
Bickerstaff.
What?
Double digits, man.
Natural 1.
I got a 20 and a 1, but I get disadvantage.
Oh, no.
Lucky you.
I mean, I have my sword out, so I'm, like, putting off light, too.
Yeah, right.
15 for Yannick.
15 for Yannick.
You only
So
rolled a
25.
5, or did you roll a 15?
Because you have a plus 10
9
bonus.
plus 5. Oh, so
25.
25. Okay.
As the
Not bad.
party starts making their way forward, Zephyr's being a little more cautious of her steps, stepping on the stonework rather than just trotting through the flowing water.
Yeah.
And everyone behind her is seemingly following her footsteps, but Bickerstaff isn't really looking ahead because he's hunched over in these smaller tunnels, still clearly splashing with his boots. As the party continues down one of these narrow tunnels, Zephyr, you come to an opening to a larger chamber that once again seems to set off in a number of different directions. More tunnels leading elsewhere in this larger open space. The ceiling opens up to about 15 feet above you as this tunnel opens up, and you can also catch what looks to be the scurrying skitterings of movement as a number of various rodents are scattering from what little torchlight is emitting from this entryway.
I'll look to Dodger and say, "Which way now, Dodger?"
And she steps into the entryway of this chamber as well. Takes a brief look around at some of the columns and pillars before her hand kind of washes over the surface of one, seemingly looking for something or perhaps remembering something. As she feels around for a bit, it's this way. And she starts taking the lead, just, one or two steps in front of Zephyr before allowing Zephyr to catch up. And the two of you start continuing along. You're seeing more and more of these rodents kind of swarmed up in clusters, almost clumping together in these drier patches up above the flow of water, presumably from deeper within the tunnels. And as you are proceeding this direction, there's less and less room for them to scatter away as there are just more and more rats and rodents present.
Mm-hmm.
And as the light is getting closer to some of these larger clusters of life, they're starting to hiss and snarl a bit, baring their teeth and just screeching out towards you.
I want to get another sniff and see if the smell is getting stronger going down this path.
All right. Go ahead and roll me another perception check.
Perception plus 5. Ooh, only 11.
11. It's the scent of the sewage is definitely getting stronger down here, as not only are you dealing with the waste of the city, but the waste that has sat here for dozens and dozens of generations. Like, this sink is in the goddamn walls. Like, it is very much present here. And for the moment, at least, it's drowning out that waft of whatever you picked up on before.
Okay. Do I see any, like, additional footsteps ahead of us?
Not on the brickwork or the splashes of water.
Okay.
Not with the 11, you don't.
Okay. I wasn't sure if survival would do something different for that, for tracking. Okay.
But as the rest of the party is proceeding by, Bickerstaff, you're occasionally pulling out your sword to get the glow, and the rats nearby are just hissing and snarling each time that you would draw the sword.
Bickerstaff will apologize. They're sorry, we're just walking through. Oh, sorry. Don't mind us.
But Dodger's eventually leading Zephyr towards this stonework bridge that goes over a gap of flowing water that's about 15 feet wide. And it goes from this side of the chamber to the other, connecting two stone pathways. And there are about 36 or so rats just kind of sprawled off in varying positions all across this bridge, and Dodger kind of holds up the torch, trying to just shoo them before just kind of looking over towards you.
Yes, I'm going to use Speak with Animals.
If you'd like to describe how Zephyr does this.
As my previous encounter with rats of the city, I know their language. So I will do a couple of clicks and a couple of chirps, and I'll say, please, friends, we mean you no harm. We just need to get past to the vile humans on the other side. I can give you some food if you let us move past you.
Zephyr, roll me a persuasion check with advantage if you're pulling out food.
Not built for this.
Our homes are filled with water. We're so hungry. There's nothing to eat.
Persuasion, that's a 19. No, 19.
19.
And I just pull out some, some miscellaneous, like, meats that I have. I've got some extra steaks or whatever left over from...
The rest of the party watches as Zephyr lets loose a series of squeaks and is reaching and pulling something out from her pockets as this swarm of rats just consumes her, more or less. They just immediately all start moving towards Zephyr, and some of them start climbing over the lower parts of her boots, up the sides of her pant legs before falling off beside her, just slowly all just swarming around her space.
And I lead them away from the bridge as far as I can, and I'll drop a modest meat parcel off to the side so that way we can move forward.
All right. As you're continuing to...
I'll usher everyone else on. I'll be the last one on the bridge.
So lead the swarm away. Being able to understand what they're saying, you hear what sounds like an overwhelming, almost applause of thanks. And you're so gracious, you're so generous. Keep it away from the tentacles.
Keep
tentacles?
The tentacles?
The greedy tentacles. They always take everything. They eat it all. Leaving nothing for us.
Are there any of them on the other side of the bridge? Squeak, 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 squeak.
No, it's down by the red wall. The red wall, the red wall, the red wall!
Oh, shit, the red wall. I remember that. Oh, well, thank you, my friends. Are we getting close to the red wall?
One of them just goes up on its hind legs, sniffs about the air for a bit, doing that weird kind of snake charmer-esque dance that rats sometimes do.
Like prairie rats?
Sniffing up the air, holding its little tiny claws up before landing back on all fours. It's close by.
Thank you, my friends. And I'll lay an additional meat parcel down on the floor. To feed the rats. And I will slowly try to move myself away from the rat swarms.
All right.
Behind the group.
So Zephyr, effectively following back and catching up with the party who made their way over the bridge. You're able to catch up with Dodger leading the way with her torchlight in the front of the party.
As I pass Bickerstaff, I'll say, Bickerstaff, we are getting close to the red door where the Atiog is guarding. The rats know that it is close.
The Atiog. Oh, the big beast. Oh, okay.
Yes, which was guarding an entrance into the lab, according to Dodger.
Oh, that's right. I will let everyone know. Bickerstaff will mentally relay that information to everybody, including Dodger.
As I'm moving forward towards Dodger.
All right.
Dodger's reaction. By the time I get to Dodger and Bickerstaff relays the message.
Yeah, you're able to catch up relatively quickly as Bickerstaff is cycling through different party members. And as you approach, she kind of gives you a nod of her head, presumably at the same time that she's getting this information. As she dips her torch down into some of the flowing water nearby and just extinguishes the light.
And I will, I can see, so I'll whisper to Dodger, just hold on to my tail, and when we get to an intersection, I will let you know.
All right. What you're looking for can't be much further than here. I remember crossing the bridge before. You're looking for a central waypoint of sorts. It's surrounded by tunnels on all sides. I'm afraid I don't recall if we settled on approaching the side door or going for the front entrance. Which would you like me to lead you towards?
How far apart are they from each other?
Maybe 90 feet? I don't know for certain, but it's effectively just around the corner.
Can you lead half of us to one door and then the other half to the other in case they try to break?
If there's an Artiog at the red door, then we don't want to do that alone.
Oh, is that the front door?
No, that's the side door.
So...
The Artiog is guarding the red door.
So we don't want to go through the red door then, no?
If we can make it through the Artiog without trouble, then that would be a better entrance. I suggest we go to the door
without the Artiog then.
So the Sin Spawn then.
The what?
The Sin Spawn. The gentleman who fancies himself. The fancy robes. The black eyes. We talked about this.
Yes, we did.
My confidence in this plan is wavering.
Hold on. I wrote down... I didn't write down the rest of his name. Hold on. Would I on a primal level know if we could handle, like, this is I was reading about the lizard folk, as they have like a fight or flight primal knowledge of a creature, whether they should fight it or they don't have a chance and they should run. Would I know something like that about an Artiog?
Let's find out with a nature check.
All right. Ooh, really good. 19.
19. It wasn't too long ago that you saw 5 guardsmen take on an Artiog, and you fought those same kinds of guardsmen. Given you fled from that fight, but presumably, if you were able to hold your own against the guys who fought one of these creatures, you should be able to hold your own against one of these creatures. Presumably.
Right. I'll look to Bickerstaff and whisper to him. There's a good chance that we can defeat the Otyag and move on without expending too many resources. I don't trust this Sin Spawn character. I'd rather go in through a side entrance that they're not expecting people to come through.
Yes, I agree. So, should I take the point?
Yes, if you take point, I'll be right beside you, and if worse comes to it, I'll transform and assist you.
All right, everybody, get ready for battle.
Dodger, we're going to take the red door.
All right.
Are you armed?
I have my blades.
Okay.
Now,
Stay close
those
to
among-
Bickerstaff. He has some light to provide for the area.
all right. Those who fancy yourselves ranged fighters might prefer the other side of this wall then, she says, gesturing in the darkness to what she knows is the other side of this kind of 10-foot wide flow of water in the middle of this tunnel. Another same situation you guys have been through before where there's a path on both sides and the water in the middle.
Okay. So Yannick and Phelan would be able to see her pointing to the safe side of the ranged area.
And I will ask everyone to keep their voices down, as it's going to be just around the next corner.
All right, Bickerstaff. Yeah, quietly.
24 for Phelan, just trying to creep up quietly.
Yeah, I will go with that as well. Let's see, that's a 21.
Yeah!
Nice, 28
Nice.
for Bickerstaff. Damn. That's a
Yannick, are you
29.
crossing the stream with Phelan or sticking with Bickerstaff and Zephyr?
Right, don't cross the streams.
Who? Yannick?
Yannick, yeah.
Yannick.
Ted, are you muted?
Yes. Zephyr
You lost
got
Yannick in the sewers.
Oh no! Zephyr got a 29
29.
on
Nice.
herself.
Nice. So, flashing back to that conversation Phelan had with Dodger, what else was asked and talked about?
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Lost Ted.
Hung up.
Oh,
He quit.
not
He's
in
done.
Skype.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Hear me?
Yes.
Ah,
There
Yes.
it is.
does Yannick have the plus 10?
Still does.
Yes. Yannick, are you crossing the stream with Phelan or sticking beside Bickerstaff and Zephyr?
Crossing the stream with a plus or actual 27.
27.
Nice.
Nice.
So we'll put on hold the flashback.
And the flashback stays in the back where it was. And
Oh, I was totally panicking.
boom.
So it's going to be Bickerstaff, Dodger, right on his heels, and then depending on how wide the path is, I'll be next to Bickerstaff,
All right.
or right behind Dodger.
All right. So it is only narrowly a 5-foot wide path on either side of this 10-foot waterway gap. There's the occasional very janky-looking wooden bridge that crosses some of these gaps, the occasional fallen piece of stonework from the arches above that you could use to step over.
And the passage that she said is around the corner. Can I see the
Around
far
that
side of
next-
that passage to see how wide it is?
Effectively, we
Is
can
it
move.
like a continuous, like 10 foot? I just want to see the edge.
I
Like,
can
is
show
there an
you.
arch or is there?
An edge, something like this.
Okay, I should have 60 feet of dark vision. Can you update my token, please?
Stand by.
I just want to see if I need to go spider forming to get above people that I... Oh, yeah, I'll have room. Okay. Okay, cool. Brilliant.
Oh, and I didn't know how to do my brooch that I got from Inquisitors.
Well, which part about it?
The full effects, because I attuned to it.
Okay, so effectively, whenever you take force damage, you have resistance to that. So that's something you're going to have to remember.
Oh, broke the
And
shield.
whenever you're struck by a magic missile, it has no effect upon you. So that's another thing you're going to have to remember.
Broach a shield. That's cool. I like it.
Oh, nobody else knew. I'm sorry. My
You
bad.
didn't tell anyone else.
That's all right. Bickerstaff, I guess we're on...
Sword out so we can see a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Get that moonlight going.
one sec. Roll 20s for us.
Oh, no! Technical difficulties.
So, as you guys start creeping around the corner, Bickerstaff, making use of the dim light, just kind of ever so lightly creeping your sword out from the hilt, you can see the red tinted door just around that next corner, about 20, 30 feet down the next tunnel. Okay, and we're back.
All right, is everybody ready?
Absolutely. On board.
Okay.
Cock, lock, and ready.
So I'm about 30 feet away from the door, you said?
Yeah, door is about 30 feet.
So Bickerstaff's going to kind of step out around the corner. And then he's going to use his bonus action to activate Beacon. And he's going to do it like a red light.
All right, and what happens when he activates this?
Like this, he starts kind of glowing this red kind of
shit.
light that makes it so himself and Dodger can see, and hopefully it doesn't agitate the beast too much. And then instead of pulling out his sword, which is going to make brighter light, he's going to pull out the blood spear.
Oh. So he sheaths the
Alright.
sword, pull out the blood spear. I like it.
And where, that for the sake of color. And where are you placing this beacon?
It's centered on me.
Center on you?
It radiates from your...
me.
It's an aura.
It emanates from my body.
Oh, cool
So a
beans.
20-foot dim light. Oh, bright light 20 foot, 20 foot.
Like a torch.
It's a torch.
Is torch 30 foot or is it 20 foot? I can't remember.
Torch is 20 bright, 20 dim.
Oh, there you go.
Is
Like
this
the light
door? Am I standing next to it?
I don't know, because right now my roll 20 is seriously lagging behind. Like, I can just see Bickerstaff just now creeping around the corner.
Well, then I move up the way I think I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah.
All right.
Up, right?
Yes, northwards. If Bickerstaff is continuing along this stonework, making his way northwards, he comes upon this large red door.
Okay.
Can I see the tentacled creature?
Roll me a perception check.
I would like to aid Bickerstaff in searching for the creature.
All right. Roll me a perception check as well, and let me know what you guys got, as
21.
I will refresh you. 21.
I got a 19.
19.
Whatever. Everybody.
Burbling and bubbling within the water nearby Bickerstaff as he's making his way northward. Not immediately at this corner, and not immediately at the door, but kind of in the space in between the two.
Okay.
So, like, here's the intersection, here's the door, it's about here.
Okay, so it's like right next to where Zephyr's
The
currently
water
located.
is bubbling.
Okay, we are still shrouded in shadows. Hopefully that helps.
Hopefully.
Let's see, what else does it do? Just so I know. Pass it out, Trace. Oh, and silence radiates from you, so we should be... Our footsteps should be quieter. Hopefully. But that doesn't help smell. So if it's got a smell sense, then we're fucked.
I don't know yet, Phelan. His roll 20 is not working.
Yep. I have, for whatever reason, the map is limited to like one corner of the map, and however much
you're
I
going to
zoom
have to
in or
refresh,
out,
Ryan.
like,
You're going to
I know,
refresh
I
roll
just
20.
I just refreshed, and it went from no map to only a corner of the map. So
See?
we might be looking at our first
Theater of the Mind.
Theater of the Mind combat. Where you guys have
Yeah,
the map, but
Dynamic
I-
lighting and all the tokens crashes roll 20. It is so bad.
Let's see. Third time's the charm. Maybe. Maybe. Yep. Might have to theater of the mind this thing.
Oh, there we go. No.
Yep. Lucas, I think you're muted.
Is narrating silently. You don't know. So Bickerstaff is at the door. Dodger's right behind him. And I'm right behind her. And then the other two are looking down at us across the way.
All right.
And I would believe that Yannick would get... would Yannick be in front of Phelan or behind Phelan looking down at the group?
Yannick would be in front.
In front of Phelan.
Yeah, he'd be crossing over. That way he'd get as much, sight. Because sight is his thing. Everything he can see, he can touch.
And not only do you have dark vision at present, Yannick, but Bickerstaff is effectively glowing with this light. As if you were wielding a torch.
The cube.
All right. Cool. So we are all set to go. I'm tentative to what I'm doing, so I'm waiting on Bickerstaff to see what he's gonna do.
But nothing's aggressive yet. Nothing has.
Yannick,
we
roll
know
me a
of.
perception check.
Roll what?
Perception check.
All right.
Yes, if anything's hostile, let's find out.
16.
All right. Yannick, you can see the three of them creeping their way forward nearby the door. But you don't catch sight of where this creature might be.
So it's like the dumpster in Star Wars. Something's there. You just don't know where.
That's up to you. Maybe it went out there to eat something.
But I sense something's aggressive. Correct?
You're pretty aggressive right now.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right.
All right. So I'm like, everybody up. Get prepared.
I assume you're whispering that to Phelan, who's standing right next to you, not the members of your party 40 feet closer to the bad guy's face as the party's creeping forward.
I think
Yeah,
we're all pretty on our guard. He's whispering it to himself. Stay frosty.
Yeah,
Is there a
smacking his head
on the ledge or anything like that?
A rock on the ledge? There's the occasional bit of crumbled stonework from the ceiling up above.
Like, would it be anything small enough where Bickerstaff could just kind of kick it into the water?
You could absolutely try that.
Oh, just go through the door.
You think
Sorry.
so?
Go through the door.
Metabird.
Metabird.
Bickerstaff.
I'm following Bickerstaff, and I'm
On your
prepared
left is
to
this
transform.
large red door Immediately in front of you are a couple of smaller stones and pebbles and the like that have crumbled from the stonework around you. Immediately behind you is Dodger. Immediately behind her is Zephyr. And somewhere to their side is whatever's guarding this door.
Bickerstaff's going to look at Dodger and he's going to say, Dodger, is this the door that we need to go through to get to Corbin?
This is the side entrance, yes.
Where is the beast? Oh.
I point right here. Oh, wait, that's in your mind. Never mind, I can't.
She looks around beside her and whispers back, it can't have gotten far.
Zephyr is actively looking down at the sewer because she senses that it's close.
Have you rolled a perception check for it yet, Zephyr?
Yeah, I thought I did. I got a 19, I think.
And you and Bickerstaff both know where it is.
Yeah.
Bickerstaff will say to Dodger's mind again, will it, shall we just go in? Will it let us go through? Will it attack when we turn our backs on it?
Judging by that door, it's going to make some noise. How good are you at fighting in front? Yannick's moving away from his position and making his way back around the tunnels to the other side to reapproach the party.
This is a confrontation. It will happen. Be prepared. Yannick will get position.
All right, so Zephyr, Yannick comes up behind you, having left Phelan.
And I just look to him, and I know he can see me in the dark, and I give him the fiercest daggers that I can out of my eyes. And I just point to the water. And I do this. We need to get in as fast as we can.
Bickerstaff will turn to the door and he'll try pushing, or can Bickerstaff inspect the door for traps?
All right, go ahead and roll me an investigation check, Bickerstaff.
Natural 20.
Bickerstaff.
Natural 20. This door looks very old, though not as old as the stonework around it. It looks as though it slides upon large metal rails, effectively a big old sliding door that will go to the side to open or close. And it looks like it'll probably scrape and groan as it does so, but at the very least, you'll be inside, and with a quick enough throw of the door, it could potentially surprise whoever's on the other side, depending on what they're doing.
Can I see Phelan?
You cannot.
Damn it. Bickerstaff will tell. I can see Jonick, right?
Yeah.
Yannick's right behind Zephyr.
Bickerstaff will telepathically say to Yannick, he'll say, Yannick, go back and get Phelan very quietly. Bring her here. We're going to try to get through the door and then slam it shut before the beast can get to us. Quietly.
Yannick does so.
All right, Yannick, can I get another stealth check, please?
Still plus 10. Oh, this is nerve-wracking. Oh my god.
Yeah.
25.
25. You creep your way around this walkway, back down the tunnel that you came from, back across the makeshift bridge for the second time. Third time, actually. As you make your way back down the opposite side of the path of this tunnel and approach Phelan.
What are you doing back here?
Phelan.
Yes.
Shh.
Is it as he's yelling?
Phelan, be quiet. Come with me. We need you. Don't step in the water. Come.
Okay. I will follow Yannick and I'll kind of really look at the water because he said don't step in it. So I'm trying to see if I can see what he's talking about, maybe.
All right.
Can I catch Bickerstaff's eye? Is Bickerstaff
Sure.
still looking
Presumably,
at
he's looking back, trying to find Phelan. He's looking in your direction. You could easily turn back to see
I'll-
No, I was
I'll
actually
give-
thinking Bickerstaff would explain to Dodger and Zephyr what he was thinking while Jonic was gone.
Sure.
Okay. In reply to Bickerstaff, I can throw a portion of meat as far as I can down the hallway to try to lure the creature away from the door to buy us a little extra time.
Why don't we open the door and see what happens first? But keep that in your back pocket.
It's right there, though.
I know. Maybe we could be quiet.
It looks like a very old door, Bickerstaff.
Look, we could get through the door. We could slam it shut. We could maybe get inside before the creature even knows what's happening.
Okay.
And Phelan, can I get a stealth check from you as you make your way back around to approach the party?
How's a 13?
Plus 10.
Natural 1.
Oh no.
Phelan, as you and Yannick are crossing over the makeshift bridge back down the tunnel, following Yannick's footsteps exactly in order to stay as quiet as he was, the bridge you're walking across the stonework just crumbles, and with a loud audible splash, you start sinking into the refuse underneath you. Everybody hears this. And Zephyr, you see those bubbles, as well as a large form underneath the water starting to shift and move in that direction.
Can I, with that, we'll roll initiative, but I would like to take that parcel of meat I was getting ready, and I'm going to throw it to where she was at the other side of the intersection.
You can certainly try on
I
your
would
turn.
like to try. We all get the +2 from Bickerstaff?
Those within 30 feet.
30 feet.
Am I within 30 feet?
Yannick is not, and Phelan is not.
Oh, 20 total
Effectively-
for
20 total for Zephyr.
Zephyr. Yeah.
And
Thank you, Bickerstaff.
Yo.
Yo.
Yannick, why did you come back for me? I was doing just fine. I touched the water, guys. I'm sorry.
This is going to have to be chain reaction real quick. Oh, I've got inspiration for some reason. It's on my character sheet.
that was for remembering something earlier. Yannick,
I
initiative.
don't remember what I remembered.
Or are you opting out of this fight?
Ted, are you muted?
Are you muted again?
Is your
Or is
Skype
Skype
broken?
crashing for everyone today?
Well, while he's coming back, I'm going to go get some more ice for my whiskey. I'll be right back.
All right. As we flash back to that conversation that Phelan was having with Dodger, as Dodger rolls into initiative too.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can't.
All right, I'm 22, but I can't seem to put it on the turn order.
22. Got it. So, Phelan, what else did you talk with Dodger about?
I was going to ask her another question. Shit, what was it?
I don't know.
Dodger, you... Fuck, I had it in my head, and then we went down to the sewers.
Dodger, did you... Fuck, sorry, I'm really busy with the spell and learning things.
I'm trying to write the spell at the same time as talking. Really, I'm not a multitasker.
Also, speaking of which, did you subtract the gold cost for copying the spell in your book?
Oh, not of copying it yet, but yes. That's 50 gold pieces to copy it because it's a necromancy spell, so it takes only 30 minutes and 25.
There you go. So you were getting through that spell surprisingly quick. And it was taking you significantly less of this very, very expensive ink than you were anticipating to fill out all of the proper symbols and designs and finger movements in the various components of the spell, the specific wording of it.
God, it was like an important question. I thought it was important. Damn it.
Do Otyogs have any specific weaknesses? Hypothetically speaking, what are the chances we'll actually run into one, right?
I'm back.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, Amanda, if you think of it, just write it down. Zephyr, what is your dex modifier?
+1.
It's 1. Okay. So, Yannick. Back behind you, Phelan is crossing over this bridge that you just stepped across yourself, and it collapses, and she sinks just beneath the surface of the sewage that is flowing through this tunnel. What are you going to do, Yannick?
I'll reach down and grab her.
Reaching down, roll me a perception check.
It's gonna be 10.
10. She's underneath the surface of the water at present, and you can only just make her out because of the flailing splashing that she is doing at present. She's not so much swimming as she is moving. You're going to have to go at least 5 feet further down this tunnel to attempt to reach down and scoop her up.
She fell in the water.
Athletic.
So Yannick, stepping 5 feet over, lying down prone, using half your movement to do so. Feel free to roll me an athletics check to try and pull Phelan up out from the sewage.
15.
15. You grab her by the wrist as she's flailing and pull her up just enough for her to catch hold of the ledge of the lip of the platform that you were on yourself.
I pat her on the butt, said, "Stay out of the water." Like
I don't
I said.
have sight of her butt just yet. Her hands up about 2 feet. Effectively, this platform that you and her were walking on, you are now leaning down across, reaching down about a foot into the water below, and you just reached down and scooped her up and pulled her up to the side. And making use of the rest of your movement, you can help her out of the water if you would like.
Please do so with eyes on a swivel, looking about.
All right. And as you are searching about the nearby hallways, Dodger, seeing this shifting form that Zephyr was pointing out but a moment ago, now sliding down the tunnel to where Yannick and Phelan just disappeared.
So they're around the corner from the rest of the group, correct?
They are now around the corner from the rest of the group. She, in a bit of a panic, is going to throw a couple of daggers into the water. With no line of sight at this creature specifically, these are going to be at disadvantage. And that's a natural 1, followed by a natural 5. As both of these daggers are just going to hit the surface of the water and then quickly start, not quickly, but slowly kind of drift up to the surface. Zephyr.
Okay. Oh, my initiative only shows Bickerstaff. Okay. Let's see here. So I see the shadow starting to move. Do I see it moving around
Shadow underneath
the
the surface of the water. It's just started to move southwards.
Can I do some kind of check to know if this is a beast or if it's like a monstrosity or...
With your nature check, you'd know it's an aberration.
Okay, so my beast speech that I still have is not going to help me in this situation. I'm going to tell Bickerstaff, open the door quickly. I'll get the others over here. And I'm going to start moving towards the corner, since I'm at the back of our small group. I'll move to the corner, and I'm still going to chuck that meat down the corridor where they left. So directly opposite of where the main group was, the southern tunnel. And I will prepare a bonus action if that thing emerges.
All right, and what bonus action are you preparing?
Wild shape.
Wild shape. All right.
So do I have to give you a throw for throwing the meat pile, or?
Go ahead and roll me an athletics check.
My strong suit. Ah, shit. I throw it like a foot away from me. That's a 2.
A 2. Zephyr, you loose the wad of meat that you were attempting to throw as a distraction, and a string of sinew gets caught around your thumb as you loose it and watch it arc upwards in the perfect angle before that string catches, and it just shoots almost immediately down nearby your feet with an audible splosh.
Oh. I was hoping it would not land in the water. Alright.
Anticlimactic.
As that shadow beneath the surface of the water glides in your direction, Zephyr.
Okay.
And almost exactly where that splosh of meat was a moment ago, a flurry of water as well as bubbles flows up, and what you swear is a tentacle, clawed hand, just splash up above the surface before dipping beneath. And you hear a loud, low, grumbling sound.
All
Hmm.
right, so
Baker
since
staff.
you're not in there, Ryan, what's everyone's initiative? Just so I
It is Yannick 22, Dodger 20, Zephyr 20, Atiog a 10, Bickerstaff a 9, Phelan a 5.
Okay, thank you.
Bickerstaff.
Bickerstaff opens the door.
All right. Go ahead. Are you trying to just fling it open or crack it open?
I mean, I've got a whole turn. I guess he'll crack it open to start until he take a look in really quick.
All right. You start slowly grinding this door open, and as the wheels on top start to catch, it starts to audibly squeal ever so slightly, like nails across a chalkboard.
Then he'll just fling it.
All right. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check to fling this door open.
18.
As you launch the door off of its hinges, inside, opening the door, you can see a number of Reed's revolutionaries inside, garbed with the black armband across their left arms, who seem to be in the midst of disposing some sort of alchemical ingredients, tossing them down some sort of well-shaped hole in the floor. To the south of this room is an alchemical table that looks to no longer be in use. To the north is a closed set of double doors. To the west, opposite you, is another large sliding door beside the well.
Fuck him. I swear, if Yannick saw this, he'd be like, Yannick would be like, all in, like,
Well, you're all in right now. The sewer.
Does Bickerstaff still have an action?
Yeah. Still have an action.
He will step inside the room.
murder, death, kill.
Within 5 feet, you're within melee range of the closest individual.
All right. Bickerstaff's going to stab him with his spear.
All right. Swing away, sir.
Oh,
As you
leading
thrust the
with the
spear forward, it doesn't manage to find purchase upon the closest target. As he drops the crate he's holding and turns around on his feet.
Bickerstaff will announce himself and he'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I was just trying to shoo you out of my way." And that's the end of his turn.
Is he surprised that Bickerstaff came through the door?
Right.
You mean, do I get advantage?
That's
Because
what
he's
I'm asking.
surprised?
If that's what you're asking, then mechanically, because he tried to squeak open the door at first, he wasn't.
So the guy
entirely
essentially
surprised.
was already turned around when Bickerstaff walked in, so he wasn't surprised.
No, because the door got flung open behind him. Effectively, he was in the midst of doing something, and the door halted him in his tracks as Bickerstaff stepped through and thrust this guy's not have a round on them. Phelan.
Cool. I tried.
Okay, so
I did.
Yannick just pulled me out of the water, correct?
Yes, Yannick just pulled you out of the water.
So I want to go as far along the pathway as I possibly can. And since he said stay out of the water.
Passive perception, Phelan.
My passive perception. 3?
13.
Plus 3.
3 plus
Plus
3.
3, so it's 13.
If you go as far as you can with a movement, you'll get significantly closer to that large, dark shape that just glided around the corner beside Zephyr.
I want to take the dodge action as I go.
Disengage?
Disengage, whatever. The one that. Yeah, dodging, disengage. I don't know which one, but.
Well, are you trying to give it disadvantage on any attacks it would make against you?
Yes.
That'll be the dodge action.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go as far as I can. Seeing that, I'm gonna realize, oh, that's why they don't want me to touch the water, and I'm gonna do the dodge action, like squeeze up against the wall as much as I can.
All right. And with that, Yannick.
All right. How far am I from the
You are-
opening?
In total, you are about 60 feet from the opening, but you are lying prone on the stonework where you just helped Phelan up from the sewer. There's a large, dark form in the water making its way towards you, where the bridge collapsed.
All right, we're not going to fight this, so I will double dash.
All right, so making use of half your movement to stand up gets you 15 feet of movement, and you're 10 feet behind Phelan, where she is presently. If you want to dash, you can get past the corner where Zephyr's at, and if your movement speed is 35, you can get just behind Dodger by using your action to dash.
Yeah, I will just dash, just book it.
All right. You are booking it around that next corner. What is your passive stealth?
Plus 10.
Right? Plus 10?
Well,
Plus,
no, your passive stealth. What's your
my passive stealth is plus 5. Yo.
so
Nice.
15? So passive would be 25.
Nice.
As he's
So you are creeping around this corner at a full sprint. You glide around, almost drifting around this corner, round Zephyr, and start making your way up just behind Dodger. As she turns around, as she draws a scimitar and a short sword and follows in immediately after Bickerstaff, launching herself at the first individual that he engaged with. As she takes a couple of strikes with her blades. Natural 20 and a natural 19 with her strikes this
That's
time
my
around.
girl.
There we go. Much better when we're fighting on your side. For the natural 20 is going to be 10 points of slashing damage.
Double action back.
And
Back to the back.
a total of 9 on the natural 19. And she is going to attempt something on this individual as she knocks the guy that Bickerstaff just stabbed at prone. Just taking a swipe of her sword, going for the throat. He's forced to counter with his own quarterstaff to block it as she slices into a chunk of his neck as she arcs up with the scimitar, knocking him off of his feet. And as he hits the ground, she brings the short sword down once again, but does not manage to hit. Zephyr.
Creature has not revealed itself yet.
I mean, you know where it is.
Right, but
Because
it
the
hasn't.
meat flopped in front of you. It has not broken the surface of the
Right,
water.
so
No.
it doesn't activate my held action. So I'm gonna. How close is Phelan to me?
10 feet.
Okay. I am going to transform as a bonus action to my steeder form, my spider form.
All right.
So that will enlarge me, and I'll basically enlarge up onto the wall. So my hind legs will be climbing the wall to stay on the platform, and I will scooch over.
Are you going climbing the platform? Are you going around the side where Phelan is, or around the side where Yannick is?
Phelan's side.
Phelan's side. All right.
Yeah. So what I'll expand out, and I'll go over, and I'll actually grab Phelan with my sticky leg, and pick her up, and start climbing up the wall and around the corner.
All right. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check to do so.
Okay. Well, it has an attack that deals no damage.
Are you attacking her?
Well, the ability.
If it does no damage, you can try to hit her with this.
It's a 20 total.
20 total. Was that a disadvantage, or was that for the check?
Well, that was to grab her.
To try and grab her. All right.
Yeah, so I stick my leg to her and lift her up off the ground.
Phelan, this Zephyr shifts herself into this familiar spider form, climbs up the wall behind you, up towards the ceiling, with one of these 8 legs that comes down, and it just sticks across your robes, and it just picks you up off your feet as she scoots you up to the corner.
Yeah, and I try to take it, and I'll scoop her in close to my body, and I'll use the other 7 legs to start climbing down towards the red door.
All right. What is the speeder's movement?
I have a 30-foot climb.
30-foot climb. 10 feet got you back to Phelan. Carrying somebody, you can get effectively back to the corner where you were previously.
But higher up on the wall?
Higher up on the wall, Phelan tucked underneath you. Yep. Effectively, it would have to go through you to get to her, kind of a
That's
thing,
what I want.
as you're shielding her.
Yep.
Effectively, more or less.
So that was it was my action to grab her, correct?
Action to effectively protect, using the protect action. I think that's what it's called. The one where you effectively cause someone else to dodge by getting disadvantage on them, kind of a thing.
I can't do
It's
that.
the aid another action.
Yeah.
That aid another. Oh, well, if I can get another 30 feet of movement, I'd rather do that instead of trying to protect her.
So you're leaving her?
No. If I can pick her
up, it's an action to pick Phelan up for sure.
Okay. Then I'm good. That's my turn.
All right. As the dark surface continues to make its way towards that busted up, broken bridge, the steeder can take an attack of opportunity if it so chooses. As it makes its way to the
my presence
bridge.
is going to go unknown.
All right.
And I have a new stealth check for my spider if I need to roll one.
If you're using an action to hide.
Well, no, it's got proficiency with something stealth or whatever.
Don't need it just yet, but it might become important later.
My passive is 27, in case you need to know.
But Zephyr and Phelan, both of your minds fill with the images of rotting flesh and dozens upon dozens of maggots slowly birthing and starting to writhe about in this rotten flesh and slowly just overcoming it as the meat continues to wither, almost in a time-lapse type vision.
Phelan feels at home.
Gruesome, to say the least. But with that, Bickerstaff.
Get off the floor. I was petting my dog.
He was clearly saying that to the guy in front of him that's on the ground.
There's a guy on the ground in front of him, yes. So he's going to stab that man with his spear.
All right.
21.
Stab you do, as you plunge the spear into his torso, dealing 4 points of piercing damage as you do so.
Does he die?
He is still breathing.
Bummer.
And I'm just kind of blocking a lot of these dudes from getting to Dodger, right?
She kind of came in around the side. So, like, if you were in the first 5 feet of the door, she came around the second 5 feet of it. The two of you are more or less
Adjacent.
blocking escape.
Okay, that's gonna, I think, be it for Bickerstaff.
All right, Phelan. Zephyr Spider is currently holding you up in its embrace.
Oh, this is lovely, Zephyr. It's nice and fuzzy in here. I would like to... Can I see inside the red door room yet? Or no?
You cannot.
We're not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet.
Can I hold my action to when I can see in that room?
Sure. What action are you holding?
I'm assuming there's... Can I hear Bickerstaff causing a commotion in there?
You can
Yeah,
hear all
actually-
sorts of something happening
I'm actually
So-
swinging with
through
my
that open
spear.
door. The occasional spark sound of metal against stone can be heard as well.
Then I will cast this on the first enemy I see, which is not going to hit. But that's my action I'm holding.
All right.
Don't hit the spider.
Yeah, right? For real. That'd be my luck. You drop me into the water.
Fine. Ugh.
Lucas, for the sake of keeping track of initiative, I will tell you the new people who are in this fight when their turn comes around.
Okay. Does your roll 20 work now and you can add them to it?
I can add them to my roll 20, but apparently if I bring new players to this map, it crashes my roll 20. So,
Okay, because your initiative tracker is still working on our screen.
but I think you don't see who I have on this map, which is why you only saw
Okay.
Bickerstaff and Phelan's.
All right.
But
I probably should open up an
Something.
Excel sheet.
Same here.
that's only if you're trying to keep track. Otherwise,
It was more for the party, so that way
okay.
I know, because I was getting confused at like, oh, people are moving. Okay.
Well, with that, you gotta always be thinking about what you're gonna do next. So, Yannick.
What does Yannick see?
Yannick, looking down this hallway, you're about 10 feet from the large red door that was just slid open. You can just make out the corner of the next room peeking in with your line of sight, but you don't see anyone there. You can see Dodger and Bickerstaff standing in this doorway side by side. Stepping into the doorway, you have line of sight to 4 of these revolutionaries and one woman with a crossbow.
Alright. Anybody look aggressive? Like
Yes,
I should pick?
Bickerstaff probably looks the most aggressive at this point in time.
with his spear stuck into this dude on the ground at his feet.
Yannick should just start peppering people with arrows, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
If they have a black
No,
band,
what-
they are evil.
With that effect, I would say the moment Bickerstaff starts having somebody, Yannick will pick that person out.
The person Bickerstaff's stabbing is down on the ground, prone, which will give you disadvantage on a shot.
You should
If you want to take it, you can certainly try.
Shoot the other bow.
But he will also hunter's mark and go from there.
All right. Who are you hunters marking? The one that Bickerstaff's stabbing, the one with the light crossbow, or one of the other 3 Reed's revolutionaries who are still standing?
The one Bickerstaff went after.
All right. So you're casting hunter's mark upon him with the boom.
Yep.
And what are you doing for your action?
Alright. So I'll shoot him.
All right.
And within 5
There
feet.
is another guy 5 feet behind him. So first shot is going to be at disadvantage to hit the guy who's prone on the ground.
First shot is 17, so disadvantage is going to be natural 1.
Natural 1 is not going to hit. As you loose the arrow and as Bickerstaff is pulling his spear out, have to effectively throw off the shot intentionally to avoid hitting Bickerstaff, as it just narrowly slices through almost clipping him right about here, narrowly missing his armor as the arrow comes flying through.
Alright, and the Horde Breaker is 13.
13 is not going to hit. As your second arrow launches forward, this guy throws up his box just in time for this arrow to hit it as the box drops to the ground.
Alright, where am I at in the area? Can I get cover? Like
you can step back out. Currently, you kind of peeked into the door and fired off 2 shots. You could go back around that corner.
And basically looking for a nook.
Inside the room or outside of the room? Outside of the room, there's no real nooks to hide in. But if you're trying to hide from line of sight of these guys, you could dip back behind the door.
No, just from where I shot, I'm like ducking back.
All right, so from where you shot, there's nowhere really to hide. Zephyr.
Zephyr is going to continue moving down the hallway towards the red door.
And that's 30 feet of climb.
30 feet of climb.
So making use of your movement and action while dragging Phelan, you could make it right in front of that doorway.
I would like
Yannick, Dodger, and Bickerstaff just on the inside of it.
Okay, how far can I get with just my movement?
15 feet, which is going to be about 10 feet from Yannick on the ground.
Okay. Well, I got Phelan away, so I'm going to get my movement, and I'm going to unfurl Phelan and drop her down by Yannick.
All right.
And then use my action to get further into the room.
All right. Action to get further into the room, going up through the large door.
And then onto the ceiling.
Effectively above Bickerstaff and Dodger.
Okay. So they see a giant spider crawling in through the doorway.
Climbing its way into the room.
Big old red eyes just looking. That
Dodger.
is my turn.
All right, Dodger's going to take another thrust of her blade down at the guy who is prone. What's that? That is not going to hit. As she gives up on him, with advantage, is not going to hit.
Oh, okay.
As she takes a second swing and stepping into the room, going for the guy whose Yannick's arrow missed with her slice of a short sword for a slash across the front of his person, dealing some damage as she slices and going to attempt to prone him as well. And doing so successfully, knocking the second guy off of his feet. The one who just deflected the arrow before. She takes a third strike with a sword downwards with advantage. There we go. And makes another hit with her short sword. As the woman on the other side of the room loads and aims her crossbow, pointing it up towards the open doorway. She fires 4 bolts from it in rapid succession. One towards Dodger, which is going to miss. One towards Bickerstaff, which is a natural one. One towards the large spider, which is a natural 18. And one towards Yannick, which is a total of 15. So for the spider is a total of 21.
Misses!
Spider hits the spider.
What's my new beast has?
Spider
Breastplate.
is going to be 6 points of piercing damage to the large spider.
All right.
Okay, I maintain pass without a trace.
Awesome. With that, Phelan, somewhere behind you, you're hearing something sliding and gliding through the waterway, as if it's searching or hunting for something. Do you look behind you, Phelan?
Yes.
Now,
you see a large entity start to peek itself up from the surface. One tentacle first, with what looks to be a series of eyes around the outside of it, before two other tentacles start lashing out at some of the stonework, helping to pull itself up as its large, toothy maw breaks the surface of the water and just seems to like it's smelling the air for something.
Oh god, can I like
Bigger
run
staff.
in? Oh,
On your turn,
So-
right now, it's Bigger Staff.
Oh no!
So Phelan's still outside of the room, right?
Phelan's still outside of the room. Yannick's just outside of the room, and the spider's starting to make its way in.
can Yannick react, like, hear it, and adjust?
If you
Bickerstaff's
held an action, yeah.
Bickerstaff's gonna run back to where the door is, and if
You are
that provokes
effectively
the
just on the other side of the door.
Okay, so he's gonna tell Phelan, Yannick, get in here, and he's gonna prepare his action to slam the door shut behind them as they run in.
All right. Phelan.
Yannick will try to assist Phelan pull her in.
You can try that on your turn. Right now, it's Phelan's turn.
yeah, I'm like not even thinking. I'm like jumping into the room.
As Phelan, you catch sight of this first tentacle peeking its way up through the surface of the water and conjure forth a teeny tiny spectral hand as two other tentacles lash out on the stonework and draw with it this enormous creature. As your spell kind of just fizzles out in this moment of panic that you're having.
Nope,
What are you doing
nope,
right now?
nope, and I run into the room.
Running into the room.
And
10 feet of movement gets you into the room, and you are effectively right behind Dodger. There's a corner to your right, table to the left, what looks to be a well-like hole on the other side of the room, and just to the left of that well is another one of these large sliding doors.
is there
on
any
your
more people in here?
There are presently 4 of these individuals with the pole that you recognize with the pole arms, and the one woman in the back loosing a series of crossbow bolts into the space
gonna-
where you are standing.
Target her with the chill touch. 19.
19 is going to hit as
Nice.
a little hand reaches up and just tears across her person.
I'm gonna make it look just like the tentacle beast's hand.
Oh,
Not
a bunch of eyes.
tentacle reaches
Yeah.
up and just claws into her form.
That's
Anything else you'd like to do?
I'm good. I'm inside the room. I'm safe-ish.
All right. Bickerstaff, the man whom you just turned around from to face the door, the one that you just stabbed with your spear, is going to stand himself back up, provoking an attack of opportunity from you, Phelan, and Dodgers, should you so choose.
Is the
Will
spider
that
within
prevent
range?
me from closing the door?
What's the range on the spider's attacks?
Well, it's a large creature, and it'd be 5 feet.
5 feet. You would be just out of range for this to try and reach over across Bickerstaff.
Fair enough.
Would taking this tack make it so I can't close the door?
No. This is effectively your... No. I'll say no.
All right, then sure.
DM call.
Then yeah, I'll stab him.
You just
All
take a
right.
stab to the back.
Nice.
21. As Bickerstaff turns around, focusing upon this door, preparing himself, he just thrusts his spear back behind his arms, not even looking, focusing on the sound of this guy standing himself back up, and there's an audible, a wet splatter of hot blood that hits the back of Bickerstaff's neck as this guy falls dead behind Bickerstaff.
Ooh. I gained 2d6 temporary HP.
Yeah, you do. You want to roll that?
When you hit,
No, when I kill somebody.
Happened.
did it
What,
die?
what happened?
Nice.
Hit points, not too shabby.
Nice,
guy-
Bickerstaff.
As the gentleman, besides Dodger, starts to step his way closer, putting himself in melee range of Phelan and Dodger as they are just on the inside of this room. He's going to take a swipe with his pole arm, his bow staff, with a natural 18 for a 22 to hit Dodger is going to whack her across the side of the face. And the second strike is going to be against Phelan for a total of 17 to hit Phelan.
Yep, that's going to hit.
All
Phelan
right.
needs a shield spell bad.
So,
I can't believe what's going on.
Phelan, you're going to take 3 points of bludgeoning damage, and I need you to make me a strength save.
Oh, damn.
How's it
no.
6. Phelan, which magical focus are you currently using to cast these spells?
My new quarterstaff.
That fancy new quarterstaff just got snapped out of your grasp
No.
and flung into the floor just beside you.
Rude.
It's okay.
As the man Dodger was stabbing into on the ground is going to try and thrust his quarterstaff up to deflect these blows, making his attacks at disadvantage. For a 15 to hit on the first, does not make it through Dodger. Let me double check. She's got the Emerald Enclave. Yeah, does not make it through Dodger's armor. And followed by what would have been a natural 20 instead of natural 1 because he's prone. As
Happy, I like her.
the third final living polearm fighter in this room steps over the corpse of his fallen compatriot, just stabbed in the chest by Bickerstaff, and he's going to take 1 swipe at Phelan, 1 swipe at Bickerstaff. First one against Phelan with a total of 16 to hit Phelan.
Oh, yeah, that's going to hit.
All right, that is going to be
I'm yellow.
7 points of bludgeoning damage, Phelan. And I don't suppose you're holding anything else in your offhand, are you, Phelan?
Nope.
Okay. Bickerstaff,
My hopes and dreams.
a natural 7 to hit you.
Oh no!
And with that, Yannick is up.
Let's switch bigger stuff.
The
I'll take
item I'm
7.
holding in my offhand says no.
Yannick.
Alright, so. Yeah, we'll just go for the front one.
All right, the one that just struck
Unnatural
out.
20.
Natural 20.
Woo, woo. Oh, wait.
He's standing on the guy who had your hunter's mark onto him. Oh, what was the damage for that?
Oh, D8 plus,
D8 plus a D8 plus your mod.
So 2d8 plus 3.
yeah, D8 plus 3 plus 1d6.
Now, this guy isn't
Oh,
Yeah,
I
on.
killed your
1d6
hunter's
times
mark
2?
guy.
You got to shift your hunter's mark to him first. So this one's just the 2d8 plus your modifier. The
Oh.
dead one has your hunter's mark presently.
So 1d6 is going to be
2d8 plus your modifier. No d6.
the d6 is the hunter's mark, right?
Hunter's mark is on a dead guy right now. You got to move that to a living person.
The hunter's mark before you shot.
All right.
So this is just the crit damage. So 2d8 plus your modifier.
So it should be 16 total.
16 total. Nice. And there is an individual prone within 5 feet of this guy if you want to try for the Horde Breaker.
Hell yeah, I will.
All right, so this shot will be at disadvantage. And are you using a bonus action to move your hunter's mark?
It shouldn't be. It should be just automatic.
No,
It
it
is not.
uses your bonus
It was
action.
on the dead
Takes a
person.
bonus action to shift it to a new target after your old target hits
Oh.
0 hit points.
Yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't.
All right, so shifting it to the next prone individual. The shot is still going to be at disadvantage, but if you hit this time, it'll be add a d6 to the damage done.
15 total.
15 total is going to hit at disadvantage. Nice. So a d8 plus a d6 plus your mod.
6 and
Six. 11 plus your mod.
No, it's with my mod. 11.
So you rolled a D8, a D6, and for a total of 11?
Yeah.
All right. Your shot sinks into him as he starts to groan out and spurt out blood from his open wounds. Anything else you'd like to do, Yannick? You're still outside of the room at present.
Just corner myself in, try to get away from direction or anybody shooting at me.
You see Bickerstaff getting ready to close the door, or are you going to come in the room?
Yelled at you to get inside.
Can I see, without knowing the room, can I see a spot where I can hide behind Bickerstaff or go behind...
There are enemies on the other side of Bickerstaff. To Bickerstaff's left are a small little pile of barrels, a couple of barrels stacked up there. But they're effectively, if you go to hit Bickerstaff's left or Phelan's right, you'll be within melee range of a fighter.
I'll go...
But I think Bickerstaff wanted us both to get in there.
Yeah.
So Bickerstaff's left, you start clambering your way in, pushing past some of the barrels as you do so.
That way, he's not flanked.
And you can try to continue your way forward, which will provoke an opportunity attack, but will not have you in melee range for your turn for strikes, if you'd like to take it. So continuing forward, around the side. All right. Continuing around, the guy engaged with Bickerstaff is going to take an offhand strike towards Yannick, and I don't believe a 12 is going to hit.
No.
As he swipes his bow staff wide.
Awesome.
Zephyr.
New AC is awesome.
Large spider lady.
Oh,
And then
large spider lady.
Once he moves in, I slam the door shut.
Did
right?
Dodger do her turn?
Zephyr's got to finish making her way in through the doorway. And then, yes.
Okay, well, did Dodger do her attacks already after Yannick?
She did not. For whatever reason, it switched you and her on finish, because I added the new guys. So, Dodger is going to swipe once at the guy prone on the ground in front of her. 2 8s. Not going to hit. Striking down again at the guy on the ground in front of her. A 2 and a 5. And she's just going to start screaming out as she takes the third strike against this guy on the ground. And finally, though all 3 strikes were at advantage, she finally hits this guy, taking her blades into him, and his squeals of agony stop.
Nice.
With that, she steps just over his corpse and turns back to see what Zephyr's about to do.
Okay. Do I have enough movement? I've got 30 foot of climb to reach the crossbow woman.
Let's find out.
Of climbing.
You do, yes.
Okay. Would I provoke...
You use the entirety of your movement to get up, around, across the room, and then within range of her.
Okay. I would like to do that instead of leaping and taking damage. Actually,
right.
I'm gonna leap. I'm gonna leap right on top of her. Fuck it.
Right on top of her. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to squish her.
All right.
Last time I played it safe, it was boring. So I'm gonna jump on top of the crossbow lady.
All right. And I believe this would be what, pounce attack?
No, this is just a leap. It says I can leap 90 feet vertically or horizontal, provided I have full movement.
You throw yourself across the room. You have the movement to do so. He is within range.
And I'm going to...
Is this an attack or just a move?
The leap is just movement.
Okay.
So I can make 90 feet with a leap. I intend to bite said target.
All right.
Does a 21 hit?
21 will hit.
All right. So I need you to make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw, please.
12 con save. How about a total of 11.
Yes!
Just done.
Nice. Alright. So you take 2d8 acid damage.
Nice.
Oh,
Did you do any
wow.
piercing damage already?
Oh,
Or is
yeah,
it
yeah.
only
Oh,
acid?
yeah.
Okay.
I got it. Alright, so you take, let's see. You take, let's see, 1d8. You take 11 points of piercing damage and 3 points of acid damage. I rolled shit on my acid damage. Fuck you, dice.
Not too bad as the spider leaps into the room, bangs first, just dropping onto this woman with the crossbow shot. As Bickerstaff throws the door closed. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check, Bickerstaff.
All right. Let's hopefully I do just as good as last time. No, I don't.
Can I grant him my inspiration?
You could have, yes.
Oh, sorry. I was muted. All right.
So it seems one of the wheels is caught on something up above. The door is more or less stuck in its present open position. And with that, 4 shots are coming from this crossbow lady, point blank, against the giant spider that just leapt onto her. So at disadvantage, this is going to be an 8.
Nope.
Another 8, not a 20. A 10. And another not 20, but an 8.
Nope. This spider is like just touching, legs flailing everywhere. Oh, you can't hit the spider.
And in a bit of a panic, she turns around to the large door behind her and thrusts it to the side as it starts to glide across this rail track in the middle of the room. It's significantly better tended to, as it just glides a lot easier than this door Bickerstaff is struggling with at present. And as she throws open the door, she reveals another room with more revolutionaries who look to be carefully packing what look to be barrels of large green substance, stacking them into a wooden cart. On the north of that room is another large sliding door with what looks to be a small metal bell affixed to it, presumably the front entrance.
Would that action be an opportunity attack?
It is not for this one.
Okay. Because I might have had something that would have stopped her if she... Okay, cool.
As...
Shit.
Bickerstaff, you hear the splashing of water
Oh, no.
drifting by outside, and you catch sight of a series of tentacles seemingly pulling this thing along the side as it comes right past the door and continues moving up that tunnel. Bickerstaff, what are you going to do?
I try to shut the door again.
I will give him my inspiration to get advantage of the door. Yeah, Bickerstaff.
Breaks the wheel on top of the door and just forces it closed, making use of his might as well as his psionic mind to grapple hold of it and just thrust it, forcing it closed.
Oh, that's finished. How's everything else going? Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to turn around and jump back into the fray.
Turning around, you are back in the fray.
Okay.
There's an individual in melee range with you. On the other side is Zephyr, which means you have flanking advantage on this guy.
I will stab him with my spear.
Stab away.
Question
Give me
mark.
stab.
Actually, how many people are left in this room right now?
Including the crossbow woman, 3.
I still have my action and my bonus.
Still have your action and your bonus. Yes.
Okay. Bonus action, gonna switch my psionic focus to psychic assault.
So,
and then
real quick, just in case this changes anything, the room you are in has the 3 people present. The room that the crossbow woman just opened up has 4 more of these polearm fighters and another one of these crossbow women.
Right. Yeah. No. That is why I'm doing what I'm doing. The person that's closest to me. I'm going to mind thrust and pretend to stab with my spear.
Okay.
Thrust.
Oh God. Jeez.
That's our Bickerstaff. Rolling the ones on the
Uh-oh.
damage.
Luckily, he also rolled a 1. So he's going to take full damage from that. All 3 points of psychic
All
damage.
3
You
points of
racked his
damage.
mind.
God damn
That's
it.
the end of my turn.
And with that Bickerstaff, does your light snuff out? Or is that still present?
No, that's present for an hour.
Okay, I was just wondering if that was a focus thing for it.
It is not, which makes it really.
All right.
That's a spell.
Yeah, it
Phelan.
just lasts for an hour, and I can extinguish it earlier as a bonus action.
Cool beans.
Okay, I want to target
And it's
that
like red
room.
light, so this whole thing is like taking place in like this weirdly
Like a
like
Quentin
Quentin
Tarantino
Tarantino-esque
movie or
red
something.
tint.
Great.
Yeah.
I want to.
Phelan, there are 2 individuals within melee range of you. The one on your left, Zephyr's on the other side, so if you try to melee attack, you would have advantage. The one on your right is just outside of flanking with Dodger.
Okay, well then I will target the one that's next to Zephyr
All right.
and shocking grasp.
With
With advantage,
Oh, with advantage.
for
Sorry.
flanking,
Sorry, you said that.
21.
as you reach the palm of your hand forward, an arc of lightning sears across his form as it blasts into his person, and you just start to smell the flesh burning before he drops to the ground unconscious.
Nice.
I've got this. I've got this. As long as that monster doesn't come in, we're good. We're good. We're good. That's my turn.
Awesome. With that, the individual that you didn't strike at is going to take 2 strikes with his polearm at you. Both are going to be natural 4s, however. So that's got a total of 8 to hit, which I don't think is going to
No.
cut it.
Just barely. No.
As these men in the new room effectively start to make their way forward, closing the distance.
To the
2 of them are able to get into melee range with the spider, but effectively the well on Zephyr's right is preventing anyone from coming around that side of the room.
Oh, good.
So as they step up, they are both going to take strikes, and luckily Phelan down the guy that would have given them advantage on these strikes. As the first 2 swipes towards the large spider are going to be a 7 and a 19.
19 hits.
Second 2 strikes are going to be an 18 and a 17.
3 hits.
3 hits. For 15 points of bludgeoning damage in total.
Okay.
As the 2 of these polearm fighters further back into the room leap up onto the cart that they were filling and each loose a series of small knives that are nearby their belts. They only get the 1 strike with the knife for a 9 followed by a 17.
Are these attacking the spider?
The spider, yes.
17 hits.
For 5 more piercing damage to you.
Alrighty.
And with that, Yannick, your hunter's mark is now once again on an a dead body.
All right. Does anybody show signs of soldier?
Does anyone show signs of soldier?
What?
Crown guard or anything like that?
Roll me a
Oh.
perception check.
What they're wearing.
Yeah.
Perception.
Damn it.
Damn it, is not going to cut.
15.
15. Looking around, most of these individuals look to be garbed in only patchwork remains, like bits and pieces of city guard uniforms. No one individual has a whole uniform across their person, but like one has a piece of a pauldron, another has the knee guards, others have the elbow pieces, one has the chest piece of the armor, but even all together, it's not one whole suit of guards armor. It looks like these were leftovers from the Longacre attack.
Screw it. I'll try it. Halt. Nobody move forward. I demand you to stop now.
Are you going to try and use your action to intimidate them or persuade them to halt or stop? Or are you going to take your shots?
I will try to intimidate. Let's say.
All right.
Halt in the name of the law.
Go ahead and roll me an intimidation check, making use of charisma for this.
That's +3.
Oh, nice.
21.
One, nice.
Roll bad. Roll bad.
You
Roll
got them
bad.
shaking in their boots, Yannick. Shaking in their boots.
I'm gonna milk this soldier shit forever.
All right, Yannick, after you shout this out over the room, anything else you want to do on your turn?
Kind of like you shall not pass with the, my bow. I just thrust it down. It's like, stop! In the name of, I can't remember the fucking city.
MistHaven?
MistHaven.
Yeah, MistHaven. Name MistHaven. Stop!
Do you use your bonus action to move your hunter's mark?
Yes, I will.
All right, there's one guy by Phelan Dodger, 3 guys by Zephyr, and 2 guys in the other room that you can see.
I'm really wanting to just, stop this.
You can still mark someone. It doesn't hurt anybody until you shoot them.
I will mark the person closest to me.
That is between the one closest to Phelan and Dodger or one of the 3 closest to Zephyr.
The one closest to Phelan Dodger.
All right. And would you like to describe your spell as you reaffix it?
Stop in the name of MistHaven. This is the order of the city. Stop. Please. Damn, I don't know. I sound weak. Even in my mind, I sound
Please stop.
weak. Oh my
Please
god.
stop.
Please, guys,
Please
come
stop.
on. As Dodger spins round and takes a series of strikes at the guy that you just hunter's marked. And she is going to get 1 strike onto this guy. That connects with him as she just arcs this blade up across his chest as he's busy swinging at Phelan. She says, "You promised me, Yannick." Zephyr.
All right, so Zephyr currently has 3
What?
people in.
Promise what?
You promised to get her sister. All right, so there's 3 people in front of me. Is there one?
3 guys
behind
in
me?
front of you that just stepped through the door. The one behind you is dead.
Okay, how far am I from
Farther
Phelan?
from Phelan, he's about 10 feet away from you.
10 feet away. Okay. And crossbow is still within range, correct?
Crossbow's point blank in front of you.
Point blank. All right. So I'm going to use a bonus action to heal myself real quick,
All right.
All right. So I get 7 back. I'll take that.
Nice.
That puts me up to that. I'm not telling you, so don't kill me. I'm going to attack
I don't know.
I'm attacking crossbow because crossbow seems
All right.
to be the most dangerous at the moment. 17 to hit.
17 hits.
All right. I need a DC 12 Constitution save, please.
12 con. How about a natural 18?
All right. So you get half damage. Half damage.
So she can roll on her save. Second save. Can't roll
All right.
shit to hit.
All right. So you take 8 points of piercing. And
Piercing.
4 points of acid damage.
4 points of acid damage. She is looking rough as you bite your fangs into her once again. Anything else you'd like to do?
That's
All right.
That's all I can do at the moment.
As the woman who is flailing within your jaws with the crossbow lets loose 4 more shots against you. First shot at disadvantage is going to be a total of 20.
That hits.
Second shot at disadvantage is a 10.
Miss.
Third shot is a 6. Fourth shot is a total of 14.
1 hit.
1 hit for 4 points of piercing damage.
All right. I maintain concentration on Pass Without a Trace, by the way.
Good to know, as the woman with the crossbow in the other room lets loose all 4 of her shots at the largest creature she can see blocking this doorway.
Yep.
And that is going to be, the lowest of the 4 is going to be a 17 to hit.
Then they all hit.
For...
Oh.
Yeah, right.
How can they do that with a crossbow? They must have a feat. Bullshit.
Dude, I tried to stop it.
26 points of piercing damage as all 4 of her bolts sink into you with just pinpoint accuracy, just again and again and again and again.
All right, I drop form.
As Zephyr reappears within this space, drops right in front of the 3 individuals that she was just harrying. As Bickerstaff, from the other side of the door, you can hear more splashing happening. Bickerstaff, what do you want to do?
Hopefully that's gonna be fine for taking care of that door. All right. So in front of him, is there a way for Bickerstaff to get to in front of Zephyr?
You could stand beside Zephyr, right in front of the woman with the crossbow, but Zephyr's immediately point blank in front of these 3.
Okay, Bickerstaff's going to mind thrust the woman that has the crossbow that Zephyr's been wailing on.
All right.
Mind thrust.
What's the save?
13.
Natural 20 on the save.
God damn it.
She can get the saves, not the hits.
Oh no, they hit.
That was the second one that hit.
I know.
All right, Bickerstaff's going to use his bonus action to switch to Iron Durability, and then he's going to move up right next to Zephyr.
All right. Bickerstaff, effectively the well-like hole that they were tossing grates and boxes into is just on your right. The woman with the crossbow is now immediately in front of you. To her left are 2 of these polearm fighters that step through. Immediately behind her is that large door that she slid open. And immediately to your left is Zephyr. And on Zephyr's other side is the alchemical setup.
Got it.
Phelan. There's still 1 individual within this room that's in melee with you, Phelan.
Then I will reach out and taser them with a 20.
You managed to taser him without advantage as you send a surge of lightning coursing through his body, but he regains his footing and steadies himself with his polearm.
Oh, you're not going to want to do that. This was just a taste. Hopefully that scares him off.
Anything else you want to do, Phelan?
No. That's it. For now.
All right. So with that, the gentleman that you just electrocuted, Phelan, is going to swipe twice, once at you, once at Dodger. First strike against you is going to be a total of 14 to hit.
That hits.
Strike against Dodger is a total of 16 to hit. So 2 hits. So Phelan, damage coming your way is, 3 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And can I get a strength save from you, please?
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, what are you holding to cast your spells?
I would have grabbed my wand out. 19. That's a
19. He tries to whap the back of your wrist just hard enough to make you drop the wand, but you stand firm as
yeah,
Dodger takes 8 points of bludgeoning damage. Across the way, Zephyr and Bickerstaff, the two polearm fighters, the ones that just threw a couple of knives at Zephyr, exchange a brief look among each other, looking back towards the city guard, and the two of them leap off of the wagon and head towards that large door with the small bell on their side of the room. And as they thrust open these doors, the bell jangles ever so slightly, a very high-pitched ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. And a pair of blades sticks into one of the first gentlemen that's just stepped through the threshold of this doorway from what look to be the tips of a pair of bladed gauntlets worn by none other than Brodrin DeVargo, the king of spiders himself, who's coming around through the front entrance.
What?
Wait, Brodrin?
What? My boy the spider?
Oh, fuck.
As with that, Yannick.
What?
Oh shit, we never told Yannick we were working with Broderick. Somebody needs to tell him.
By the way, we're in with all the sleaze of the city.
Oh, man.
Yannick needs a new
Yannick!
thought.
You have just being in the corner that you have chosen to strategically hide yourself. You can see what looks to be the only individuals that are in the process of dropping their weapons to, not dropping, but disengaging to flee, have started to make their way out towards what you presume to be the front entrance of this facility, and you see the thug, the kingpin of another sect, Brodrin DeVargo, the king of spiders, the king of Eel's End, stepping in through that doorway, and he's just thrust his blades into the first guy in front of him. What do you want to do, Yannick? There's still 4 individuals in the room that you are in, as well as Brodrin starting to make his way in through that next room.
Can I move Hunter's Mark to him?
Not yet. Hunter's Mark is still on the guy alive next to Phelan.
All right, next Phelan, I unload on him.
All right, fire away.
And is there anybody next to him?
There's nobody within his immediate proximity. And if you can, try and roll damage at the same time that you do the to hit roll. That can help speed things up for all of us.
17.
17 is gonna hit as he swipes up with his bow staff, seeing the arrow coming, but he's just shy of clipping it in midair. So it sinks into the side of his shoulder. So a D8 plus a D6 plus your modifier.
And 8 for damage.
8 damage.
Plus 6 is
plus a D6.
12. 8, 9, 10, 12.
14.
14.
Nice. As the arrow that sinks into his shoulder drops him.
Nice.
Alright, I will...
But now, he is unconscious, so you still have a bonus action available.
I'll use my bonus action to shift Hunter's Mark to the dickhead.
King of Spiders.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, no.
Would you like to describe your spell, Yannick?
What is
I don't know
marking
if
someone
it,
look like?
but like, does it require speech or?
I'm asking you, what does this look like as Yannick is casting this spell, recasting this spell?
In your head, like when Yannick Hunters marks somebody, what does that look like?
Oh,
is verbal
they just look at
only,
him
by the way.
like, you're next. You're my bitch. I'm on you. And he like
just
points his
called
bow.
the spider the bitch.
Oh.
Go,
Yes,
bitch.
he points the tip of his bow He points it and angles at him. Here now. You're mine.
All right. Dodger, seeing Yannick focus his attention on the other side of the room, pulls back a bit as there's no room for her to get up and melee as she starts circling around behind Zephyr and just hurling daggers in front of her. For one towards crossbow woman, ooh, and one towards polearm fighter. Ooh. Crossbow lady is going to get struck by one of these daggers, dealing some damage as it hits her right in the chest, and she lets out a gasp of air. And Dodger, with a bit of panic, sees Brodrin DeVargo start stepping into the room as she starts noticeably making her way towards the red door besides Phelan. Zephyr, what are you going to do?
Do I see Brodrin?
You do.
I
just
will
step through that next door.
Okay. I will call out to Brodrin and say, Brodrin, my friend, I'm so glad to see you. And as I say that, I will transform into the Deinonychus.
All right.
And just start going fucking ham on some people. Start with the crossbow lady right in front of me.
Sweet.
That's a 17 to hit.
17 is gonna hit.
Oh shit, my character sheet. No. All right. She has. Oh no, never mind. That's a lie. 6 points of slashing damage.
Not 6 points of slashing damage. Your claw tears her a new one as she collapses. Bickerstaff, you watch as she falls. The weight of her person just kind of collapses as she falls into that pit beside you.
All right. Does that leave me room to move around the polearm fighters?
If you feel comfortable enough pushing through Bickerstaff's space, knowing the well is to his north, the pit-like hole is to his north.
I'd feel comfortable with that. I want to try to flank these two guys, if I can.
It'll take some movement from Bickerstaff's part, but you can circle around them now. Effectively, you can't get into a flanking position this round, but you can start to engage it.
No, I'm going to stay right next to Bickerstaff.
All right.
And I'm going to engage the other, I guess the next closest polearm fighter.
All right.
In that row. So I'll scooch over.
One right in front of you now.
Am I in melee range currently, or do I have to move to?
In melee range currently, with two of them.
Then I will engage the closest one to me. Oh, that's probably not going to hit. That's only a 9.
9 is not going to hit.
All right.
As you flash out with your claws, Quarterstaff smacks your wrist down.
Here comes the bite. Yeah. Ooh.
Almost.
20 total.
20 total will hit.
That is 9 points of damage.
9 points of damage. As your bite rips into his person, tearing flesh.
Still looking pretty good.
This is the first strike made against this guy.
All right, that'll be my turn.
All right. As the woman with the crossbow is taking second woman with the crossbow, the dead one, right? Takes 2 shots up towards Brodrin. Rolls 2 natural 4s. And 2 shots, one towards Bickerstaff, one towards this tiny raptor thing that keeps shifting shapes. Bickerstaff, the shot coming in your direction is a total of 20 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
For 5 points of piercing. 5 points of piercing damage. Zephyr, the shot coming in your direction is a total of 7 to hit.
That misses.
I mean, it's only cutting through temporary HP,
right?
Right, who needs it? Mm-hmm. As Brodrin once again takes a couple more strikes with his bladed gauntlets at the 2 individuals closest to him. That one two hits with his gauntlets
Nice.
for some damage. As Phelan, there's an uncomfortable bit of a gurgling growl coming from just on the other side of that red door as the splashing is continuing. It's slowly growing more and more violent on the other side of this door. Bickerstaff.
Can Bickerstaff move forward yet?
You can step over the space where the crossbow woman was, and you could go into the next room, should you so choose.
Yeah, he wants to clear rooms, so he wants to keep pushing forward to get everyone away from this red door.
So stepping forward just to yourself, you're engaged with somebody.
Okay. Is there room to push this person backwards?
There is not. There's another guy just on his other side.
Okay.
Just at him.
Bickerstaff's going to mind thrust the crossbow. Bonus action, switch to psionic assault, and then mind thrust.
All right. And you're mind thrusting the crossbow lady?
Yeah. She's
All right.
doing a lot of damage.
Save.
Bolts.
She's just as good with her saves. Another natural 18 for the crossbow lady. The second crossbow lady.
Jesus Christ.
That's the end of my turn.
For you, Bickerstaff, are you ending your turn so that you're standing immediately north of the guy and immediately in front of that pit behind you? Or are you going to take another 5-foot step into the room?
Oh, I can keep going? Yeah, if I could keep going, I'll keep going in.
Okay, so you're just on the other side of this door. If you step any further into the room, you'll engage an attack of opportunity, potentially an attack of opportunity. Or from here, you start circling around.
Can I retcon it a little bit? Can I get all the way in, provoke the attack, and then switch with my bonus and use my action? So, provoke the attack of the 19 AC, get all the way in, bonus action, switch, and mind thruster.
Sure thing. That's going to be a natural 20 to hit with the bow staff.
Yeah, that hits.
For a total of 11 points of bludgeoning damage as it whaps you across the person. And can I get a strength save from you? Actually, don't bother with the strength save. Even if you drop it, it's still your turn. You can scoop it back up after you step out of it. Don't bother.
There you go.
Boom. You drop your blade for the spear for the briefest of moments before scooping it back up. It's fine. Nobody saw it.
Fuck you, man.
Saw it. It's fine. I wasn't even using it to an attack anyways. But that freed up room for everyone to start coming in behind me.
Right.
That hurt a little bit, but
There's still
There's the large red door immediately behind you, a set of double doors to your right, a well-like pit almost 15 feet in front of you, and just to that left is the other large door leading to the second room, and on the left wall is an alchemical setup.
First, I'd like to bend down and scoop up my quarterstaff now that there's no enemies next to me.
All right.
I want to look at this red door. Is there a way to latch it closed, keep it locked, or?
There doesn't look to be a lock on this red door.
Okay.
I at least broke it.
Then I'm going to get as far away from this door as I possibly can. I'm going to follow where the group went.
All right, so you got Bickerstaff in the next room, Yannick in the corner of this room, Zephyr at the door to the next room, and Dodger standing right next to you.
I'll go follow Bickerstaff.
All right.
And I'm going to
Staying
say...
just out of melee range, or...
Huh?
Staying just out of melee range?
Yeah.
All right. That gets you 10 feet further into this room, and there's two guys engaged with Zephyr presently.
I'm going to kind of tell everyone as I'm walking, the beast on the other side of the door is very, very close to it. I'd step away if I were you. Then I'm going to target the guy on Zephyr's left. Why not? We'll say left.
All right.
And shield touch, 19 to hit.
as a skeletal hand reaches out from the wall and tears away at the side of the face of this guy, harrying Zephyr. He stops for the briefest of moment in his swing. Anything else you would like to do, Phelan?
Do I see Brodrin in there?
You do not know.
Okay.
But you heard Yannick swearing up a storm at somebody, calling them his bitch. And you heard Bickerstaff. Well, it was Zephyr. You heard Zephyr calling out for Brodrin.
Going to be a little confused, but I'm going to stay there. Is there like a way when I walk into the next room to kind of make sure I'm tucked around the corner? So if that first red door
if you want to try to make it to the next room, the next step you take will be within melee range of one of these polearm fighters.
Oh, yeah, no, then I won't. I'm good. I'll stay there. I just don't want to be by that red door when it opens. I just have a feeling that Tentacle is going to try and break through.
All right, so the polearm fighter immediately in front of Zephyr is going to step over the corpse of the crossbow woman where Bickerstaff just walked past. And he's going to take a couple of swipes at the Dionychus with a total of 16 and a 23 to hit.
2 hits.
That is going to be 9 points of bludgeoning damage total. As the second one steps up immediately in front of Zephyr, effectively now the two of them blocking the door to this next room. And he's going to take 2 swipes with his polearm. The higher of the two is a natural 8. Or a total of 8, not natural. He's significantly worse than his friend. Bickerstaff, the two you can see engaged nearby Brodrin. One is taking his staff and taking a couple of swipes at Brodrin. The other one is taking a couple of swipes at what looks to be one of the Eel's End enforcers standing beside Brodrin. 2 strikes against Brodrin. The higher of the two is a 13. Double check. Is not going to hit. And the strike against the Eel's End enforcer is going to make contact with a natural 17 for damage of axe damage. The Eel's End enforcer is looking rough as he takes the polearm strike across the face. Yannick. Ted, are you muted? Are you dead? Ted, you have to tell us if you're dead. It's the rules. So, Phelan, flashing back for a moment, back to that conversation you were having with Dodger. I started to read a whisper about it before things are happening.
Yeah. So she mentioned that, I was like, oh, you must have been his right-hand man. She's like, no, I'm not his right-hand man. I wanted to ask her who his right-hand man was.
He doesn't really seem trustworthy enough to engage another to that sort of a position. But he has left these gentlemen that garbed himself like a sin spawn in charge on a number of occasions where he has left the facility.
Who was it that he left in charge?
The sin spawn.
The sin spawn.
The one who's guarding the front door.
Yeah, okay, I remember you telling me that already. Yes, okay.
The eyes black as midnight.
Yeah.
Overly gaudy robes.
I remember this now. Okay, I apologize, yeah.
That one, yes. So, back to the present, Yannick.
Yes. Sorry.
Standing in the corner, there's the large red door that Dodger's standing beside with a series of grumbling groans and furious splashings on the other side. The set of double doors to the north of this room, the door that is opened with 2 polearm fighters blocking it on the west side of the room that are engaged with Zephyr. What's Yannick doing?
Yannick will engage with 2 polearm fighters.
All right. First the one in front of Zephyr, or the one beside Zephyr?
Beside Zephyr.
All right. First shot, fire away, sir.
It is 16 plus 6.
22.
22.
Thank you.
He's gonna hit.
And the second is 17.
17 hits. Roll damage on the 2.
And
First
we're
damage.
looking at
D8.
7 plus 3 is 10.
Nice.
And
Nice. Second damage.
6 plus 3 is 9.
Nice.
9.
9. As Yannick lets off a pair of shots at the 2 individuals engaged with Zephyr that just got a very crucial strike against the back of Bickerstaff's neck. Anything else you want to do, Yannick?
Yannick's not real sure, but he'll put his back against the wall.
You are tucked away in the corner, sir.
Yep. That is where I am.
Dodger is going to throw a couple of daggers at the 2 polearm fighters engaged with Zephyr.
Man, I'm so popular today.
First dagger goes wide. It's clear she's a little bit panicked at this point in time, but the second dagger is going to sink into its intended target, dealing max damage for a dagger.
Nice.
As she looks back to the red door behind her and then back over towards Yannick, she says, I can't let him find me here. Not after what I did to his facility. I almost sunk his entire ship. Zephyr.
Yes. Oh, my
What are
turn.
you doing?
How
How does that make you feel?
How does that make me feel? I want to eat her too.
Oh.
Heyo.
Hey.
That's After Dark show. All right, so I'm gonna claw after the one that seems the most bloody.
All right.
So
The one closest to the well.
to the well, to the wall.
To the well, like pit.
20 total.
20 total is going to hit. Roll down all.
All right. He takes 9 points of damage.
9 damage. He is still standing.
Ah, fuck you. Claw again.
What?
Double claw to the face.
Oh,
That one doesn't hit. Fuck you. Claw misses. Dodges out of the way. Comes back with the bite. Fuck you, bite. And that's my turn. I
The
missed.
lizard folk is using all sorts of strange draconic words
Yes.
as 4 crossbow bolts come flying towards Bickerstaff from the woman slowly tucking her way into a corner of this room. Whew. So we got a natural 2, a natural 4, a natural 8, and a total of 20 on the last one.
Bickerstaff will use one of his side points to say,
Of
I'll give
course.
you 2 side points.
I
Yeah,
need
I'll
that.
let
I'll
you
use
AC.
2 side points
I
to boost
totally
my
need
AC to
that.
21.
All right. So 4 misses.
Sick of her shit.
As 3 of these arrows go very wide, the 4th halts just before impact and just splinters in front of Bickerstaff. As she backs up further into this room, making her way to the corner as she starts reloading. Brodren is going to punch his fists forward. Rolling real hot tonight. 2, a 5, and another 18. As one of his strikes is going to make contact with the polearm fighter in front of him. Bickerstaff.
Okay, so there is a dude not directly behind him, but behind him to his right?
10 feet behind you, Bickerstaff, where you just moved and cleared that space, they effectively moved to block the door
Okay,
behind
so
you.
who's in front of me between
He's-
Bickerstaff?
They are 10 feet back blocking that door. There's the woman with the crossbow 30 feet across the way on the other side of this carriage that was being loaded up with barrels. And 10 feet to your right are these 2 polearm fighters engaged with Brodren DeVargo and his enforcer.
So would Bickerstaff be able to get to the crossbow lady with his 30 feet of movement?
Not. Actually, yes. Yes, you would.
Bickerstaff's going to get right up in her
Just
face.
All right. You get point blank up into her face.
And he's gonna stab her with his spear.
Roll to stab with a spear.
I had to reload roll 20. 1 second.
No.
20.
20 ought to do just nicely. As you stab her for 7 piercing damage, she feels that one for sure. And she's still struggling to reload.
That is going to be the end of Bickerstaff's turn.
Phelan.
Oh, wait.
Closest. Go ahead.
I'm not sure what my psionic focus is on, so I'm going to make sure with my bonus action it's on iron durability.
All right. So Phelan, the closest individual, is 10 feet in front of you. Right beside him is another individual engaged with, and they're both engaged with Zephyr. How romantic.
How
I forgot
romantic.
to ask, are they wearing metal armor?
They are not. No.
Well, I'm going to run up the 10 feet, and I'm going to reach out and say, "You shall not touch my friend."
Is this the one immediately in front of you, or just to his side in front of Zephyr?
The one closest to Zephyr.
Protective of Zephyr.
Closest to Zephyr.
Yeah.
As you send a scourge of lightning burning through his bones. Zephyr, you know the scent of a well-done steak when you smell it. And this guy screams a hollow, shrill, ear-pitched scream as he collapses in front of you.
I'm going to, brush my hands together. I told him not to touch you, Zephyr. And
Anything else you'd like to do, Phelan?
that's what I got for this turn.
In a bit of a panic, the guy standing immediately in front of you just watched you fry the guy beside him, take 2 panic swipes at you, Phelan.
Oh,
The lower of the two is going to be a 16 to hit.
they both hit.
So 2 hits. Phelan, this is going to be 13 points of bludgeoning damage to you.
Fuck. Okay.
And can I get a strength save, please?
Okay.
There goes that quarterstaff.
That's a 2.
Phelan,
Yep.
roll a d8.
Uh-oh. How far
Because
does
you were
it go?
standing beside this pit-like hole.
Oh, no.
That's a 4.
Falls just under his feet.
Oh,
Oh,
I'd be so sad as I just bought that. You can't do that.
And it's gone. Just underneath his feet, as the two engaged at the other doorway with Roger and DeVargo are continuing their assault to try and escape.
Can I
Yes,
see
help.
him now?
I don't think you cannot, not yet.
Okay. Well, he's still a ghost in the wind. We're good.
He's still not a real person. 2 strikes at Rodrin, and then 2 strikes at his enforcer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nope, never mind. It wasn't first. Damn it. Wasn't a first level spell. I'm sorry.
damn it, Amanda.
Sure. Whatever you say. The Brodrin is able to deflect the first strike against him. The second smacks him square across the chest, and he does his best to take the full force of that blow, but kind of takes him a moment to recover as the guy beside him takes both strikes from the quarterstaff and goes down. Brodrin is seemingly fighting solo in the doorway now. Yannick.
Yannick will, so it's, other 2 guys, no, they're not.
There's one guy engaged with Phelan and Zephyr, and 2 guys that you can see across the way engaged with this individual whom you targeted with your hunter's mark.
Well, I had to go with Hunter's Mark, so I'll go with
Alright.
him, and, alright, so,
Well, this isn't going to turn out well.
hey! 19.
Oh,
19.
God.
Roll damage on this.
We're going to have to fight fucking Broderick DeVargo. Ugh.
7 plus D6 is gonna be
Like how you're shooting the guy that's trying to help you.
9.
9. 9 total?
Yep.
Loose the arrow and watches it sails through, and he catches it midair and just shoots you the nastiest of glares. There is another individual within 5 feet of him, though.
No.
There are 2 individuals within 5 feet of him.
Well, then I'll place it to,
Left or right? You can take a shot at either.
Can I double down?
Not on the same target.
Not with this ability.
Alright, well then I'll put it to the closest target.
Alright, closest target. Fire away.
Is 12, 17.
17 hits. Roll damage. Excuse me, roll damage.
And that is a 6, 9.
9 damage?
D6 on each individual.
No, D8 for your attack.
No, for Hunter's Mark.
That was for Brodrin, yeah.
You missed. He caught that arrow. You missed
Caught that
shot.
arrow.
Alright, so it's only D6.
It's a D8 plus your modifier.
No, I mean...
You are heartbreaking. You're shooting the guy next to him. You hit the attack. You roll a D8, add 3.
Yeah, so 6 damage.
6 damage. Nice.
Yeah.
Boom. The arrow sinks into the back of him as he's continuing to, as he just swings into the Eel's End Enforcer and drops him. Drops the Eel's End Enforcer. The guy you just struck is still wincing past the pain and fighting through it. Dodger steps slightly closer towards Yannick as she looses another dagger towards the polearm fighter in front of Phelan. That's gonna miss as she fires, a second dagger towards the polearm fighter. For 2 misses with 2 more daggers as they both just scatter off the stonework. Yannick, she's turning to you in a bit of a panic. This woman who's been openly hostile to you, if anything, thus far, and in a panic, she's saying, you can't let him in here. If he comes in here, I'm dead. Zephyr.
Zephyr should have room now to flank with Phelan, correct?
You can move around this guy, making use of 15 feet of your movement to do so.
I would like to do so.
All right. Alternatively, if you would like, you can take 5 feet of your movement to step forward, which puts you on the opposite side, flanking with this pit.
No, I'm gonna eat him. I'm gonna eat him.
Just throwing it up.
16.
16. You watch as he recoils with the quarterstaff and just catches your sharp, razor-sharp claws in his quarterstaff as it just tears right through the weapon he's been using thus far. And he's got 2 little sticks left now as you rip right through his
come
weapon.
down with the claw. This time I'm gonna bite him.
All right.
Natural fucking 20. Get eaten,
That's gonna hit.
All right, 2d8 plus 2. Not bad. That's 11 points of piercing damage.
As you bite, you clamp down in the open space where his quarterstaff was but a moment ago as you made use of your first strike to open him up, second strike to lash on him and just gnaw away at his throat as he collapses in betwixt you and Phelan.
And then I throw him into the pit. Do it my way. All right, so now I have another 15 feet of movement. Does that get me close to Bickerstaff? Or
15 feet of movement.
Like 40 feet away.
I'm like
Bickerstaff is effectively on the left side of this next room looking into it. The Eel's End Enforcers are on the right side of this room looking into it. Yeah.
All right. So so that was 15 feet of movement, correct?
Yes.
All right, so that means I have 25 feet of movement. Can I get to an enemy within 25 feet of movement?
You can get to an enemy within 10 feet of movement. And you would be flanking with Broderick.
I would like to do that.
All right.
So I, charging at him, I'm going to pounce on him. Let me expand this to make sure I know what the hell I'm doing here. Pounce. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna try to hit him with a claw. Is Brodrin a ally to me?
He is, and you are both flanking this guy whom you were both engaged with.
Woohoo! I'm gonna be till death to us part. That's gonna be a 23 to hit.
23 is gonna hit. Roll that damage.
All right. He needs to make a DC 12 strength saving throw or be prone. Shit damage. Hoping for the.
How about a natural 4? That's not
natural
gonna cut
4.
it.
So he's prone and he takes 3 points of slashing damage.
3 damage. As you knock him off of his feet, Brodrin stares for a moment, and a knowing smirk scrapes across his face.
He knows my.
Anything else you'd like to do?
Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna bonus action bite this guy. I'm gonna use my hungry bite.
All right.
Fuck it. He's down. He's prone. I'm gonna eat him. Nice.
Gonna eat him.
18 to hit.
18 hits.
All right.
18.
Takes 6 points of
6 acid damage.
piercing.
Piercing damage. Beautiful.
I don't
As
get
you get
acid
another.
damage as a raptor.
It's the cantrip. Okay.
Yeah.
As you take another hungry clam.
And I get 2 temporary hit points. Yeah.
Bigger staff. The one with the crossbow, frantic reload, is taking 4 shots at you with disadvantage. Natural 3. Ooh, a total of 18 to hit.
Nope.
A total of 9 to hit, and a total of 5 to hit.
Nope.
As all 4 of these shots just blast across your armor, each one just barely leaving the crossbow as it just kind of blink, 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 blink. And you can just see the sweat pouring off of her brow as she is obviously panicking. As Brodrin de Vargo steps forward with his spiked gauntlets, taking his 2 strikes at the guy in front of him, not the one that Zephyr dropped to the ground, but the one in front of him. As he takes these strikes, he's going to get 2 hits for some damage to this gentleman. As he looks across the way, well then, Shifter, it's good to see you this far down below. Nice to see a friendly face.
I guess that's a dolphin. Raptors make.
You need to make more clicking noises.
It is concerning. When you didn't report back after I sent you after the alchemical workshop above. As he readies his stance once again for another strike. Bickerstaff.
The raptor shrugs its shoulders.
No, it's bullshit.
Oh, Bickerstaff with the spear.
18 going to hit for 4 more piercing damage. As you thrust it into her person.
Yeah, Bickerstaff's just gonna stay in her grill. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that's it. He's preoccupied.
Bickerstaff, as she steps back, recoiling from the strike of the spear, you've effectively got her cornered. And with crates and barrels and boxes on either side of her, she's effectively pinned in here. Phelan.
Okie dokie. So Zephyr took down the other one that was on the side of her. Did she go into a different area? Or is she still like right next to me?
Zephyr walked into the next room in front of you. There's the large red doors behind you, the double doors to the north of the room that you were in, the pit just to your right, the sliding door in front of you, the alchemical setup to your left. Zephyr went into the room in front of you where she's fighting more of these guys.
I'm following Zephyr. I'm going.
No! You not only heard Brodrin's voice, but you can now see him.
Brodrin, what a coincidence finding you down here. Did I see a bad guy?
You see 2. You see 3. One in front of Brodrin, one in front of Bickerstaff.
I'm going to target one that's closest to stepping in.
Closest one to you is prone, the one engaged with Zephyr.
If I do a distance attack, that disadvantage because they're prone?
Ranged
Unless
attack
they have-
will be at disadvantage.
Okay, well,
Unless
then
they
I will
have to
not
save.
target that one. I'll target the next closest one.
All right.
Little hands that I'm clearly
Okay.
surprised at Brodrin, and I miss completely.
As you've been trying to put together, like you recognize that voice and that name, and it's him. As you cast the spell, it just kind of fizzles out. Not your whole heart isn't quite behind it.
A little
Anything
hand
else you would
waves at Brodrin before it disappears.
As you get sight of the tiny spiders scuttling over the top of his shoulders onto his back. As the polearm fighter in front of you, Zephyr, is going to take 2 swipes at you at disadvantage because he's prone. First strike, a natural 1.
Nope.
Second strike, effectively he breaks his polearm as he swings and it just cracks along the side of the door, breaking his quarterstaff as he does so, and he takes a kick at you
All right.
for a total of 13 to hit
That
with
misses.
disadvantage.
Thank
On
you.
my
Misses.
last turn, can I scoop up my quarterstaff? I'm sorry.
Yes. Stepping forward, you are in space where it fell. Yes.
My bad. Sorry.
As the polearm fighter engaged with Brodrin takes a couple more swipes his way and gets 1 good strike in. So, Yannick.
Alright, Yannick will engage the closest person next to
All right, so going line of sight, the closest person to you is prone in front of Zephyr. The next person is standing up in front of the guy that you have hunter's marked, Rodrin DeVargo. And you don't have line of sight to the third.
I would go Hunter's Mark and the person next to him.
All right.
There we go.
You just watched Phelan talk to that person.
Did I?
You also just heard Dodger praying for her life, more or less. Yannick, what are you going to do?
Can I drop? You know what? I'm going to drop it and move it toward.
You can't drop it till he's dead.
You can recast it as another spell slot.
No, I can drop it, right?
Not until they hit 0 hit points.
If you
Like you
drop
can
it,
choose to drop concentration, but then the spell ends
right,
and you can
don't
re-up it.
recast it.
by recasting it. Effectively, you mark the person for death, and until they die, they keep that mark.
Well, then I'll drop it and I'll shoot the person next to Bickerstaff.
All right, so you drop concentration on your spell, move further up into the room to catch line of sight as you step behind Phelan to get line of sight on the guy nearest Bickerstaff, the crossbow lady.
Is she within 5 feet?
She is not within 5 feet of anyone else. She's only engaged with Bickerstaff.
Alright, I'll drop her.
All right, take a shot.
13 plus equals 20.
20's going to hit. Roll that damage.
Yeah. 10 total.
10 total. Nice. She's looking rough. Anything else you'd like to do?
My normal. Stick in the corner.
You were no longer in the corner. You had to move 25 feet into the room, almost to the next room, to get line of sight on this woman that Bickerstaff's engaged with. You're now effectively standing almost in the doorway with the pit on your right.
What is my closest ally?
Phelan, right in front of you.
I will stick next to Phelan.
All right. As Dodger continues to retreat into the room, Zephyr.
Just gonna start.
One of these guys, the guy who you were flanking with, is still prone in front of you.
Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna put one foot on his like groinish area, his abdomen, and then take my other claw and start breaking at his chest.
Brutal. I love it.
Very brutal. 18
Brutal.
to hit.
18's gonna hit.
Brutal.
Roll that
brutal.
damage.
Oh, God, I'm rolling shit for damage tonight. 4 points of slashing damage.
That's exactly what you needed to finish him off. As you
Sweet.
tear through his groin, hitting an artery as you do so.
So, as I slash, I use that body movement and just dig the claw deeper, and then I leap to the left to grab the guy that Broderick is dealing with.
All right,
So
as you
leaping
continue
onto
along the
back.
side of this wagon stacked full of barrels to flank with Brodrin against this the last of the polearm fighters you can see, you also catch sight of the room on the other side of Brodrin now, where you can see about 6 eels and enforcers with a gory scene, blood spattered across the walls, patches of the stonework that look to be missing or gone,
Good God.
a series of large serpents within this next space, as well as more crates and barrels kind of scattered across what looks to be this loading dock of sorts.
Jesus.
A small wooden chair which looks to be unaffected with a small string that runs from the leg of that chair up through the space that this open door is and up to that silver bell, that tiny metal bell beside it.
Wow. All right. Whew, that's a lot to take in. All right, so I'm going to flank with Brodrin and assist him.
Right.
That's a 19 for the
With
claw.
advantage, that hits.
Did I move? Could I have moved 20 foot in a straight line?
Not
I got 40 feet of
actually,
movement.
by
Circling
backing
around.
up and then leaping, you could have.
Okay, I'll do
You
that.
come back by Phelan and then leap forward after this guy.
Another 4 points of slashing damage, and he has to make a DC 12 strength check, please.
12 strength. Ooh, that is. Oh, a total of 10. Nope.
He's prone.
He's prone.
Oh, that's probably not gonna hit. That's an 11.
An 11 is not going to cut it. That was with advantage?
Yeah, that was. I rolled a 7 and a 4. Not bueno.
Does not do it.
All right, so
Welcome
I'm
to my world. All right. So with that Bickerstaff, the crossbow woman, in a panic, is continuing to reload her bolts. And having had no success with you, she's going for a couple of wild shots. Once at Zephyr, twice at you, and once towards Phelan. So Zephyr,
all with
all
disadvantage.
disadvantage.
Yeah.
So what would have been a natural 4 is dropped to nothing. Bickerstaff shots against you. What would have been a natural 20 dropped to a natural 1.
No.
Second shot against you, what would have been a 15 dropped to an 8. And Phelan, last shot against you, would have been a natural 20 dropped to a natural 1.
Oh, awesome. Well, good.
Good
Nice
job,
woman.
Bickerstaff. Good placement.
As Brodrin thrusts his blade down towards the individual on the ground, his blade sinks into his gut as he just slowly tears it up through about his chest section and then slowly pulls it out as he continues scraping it up towards his face.
Oh.
There's something that starts to sizzle and burn and bubble as the guy continues to scream. And it's just burning through this wound as he screams out and just stops moving altogether. As Brodrin steps into the room. Now then, what are you doing here? You're not co-conspirators, are you? Enough of a problem with that last one. Bickerstaff, what are you doing?
Bickerstaff will look back at Brodrin and it'll say, we're here after Corbin Reed. We've got good intelligence from... you remember that white-haired girl that almost sunk your ship and us with it? Well, she turned coded on him and brought us down here to end him because he has her little sister and is going to kill her if we don't save her. That's why we're here. Good to see you. Stab this chick in front of him with a spear.
Go for the stab.
Good to see you.
Go for the stab.
Yeah,
You-
he's talking a little more than stabbing.
As you thrust the spear forward, she's giving it her all to continue fighting for every inch of life that she has left in her as it misses. As you kind of look over your shoulder to have this conversation, thrusting forward a woman who's not making any impact through your armor.
Yeah, that's the end of Bickerstaff's turn.
Phelan.
Okay, no. So Bickerstaff walked into the room and stabbed at a girl and missed. Yes.
Yes.
Well, he's
Well,
been
he's
standing there
at
for
the corner.
a little bit, but yeah.
I'm gonna target her if I can see her.
You have line of sight if you move 5 feet.
I will target her.
All
And
right.
I will with the 20 to hit for 3 necrotic.
A 20 will hit for 3 necrotic damage as another skeletal hand reaches out from beside the wall and claws nearby her chest, reaping a portion of her out.
Yeah. Put her down to like 1 HP so I can finish her off.
And then I'm gonna kind of add on to Bickerstaffs and say, yes, we're trying to save an auburn-haired girl and kill Corbin all in the same go.
He might have a Requisitor with him. Be careful.
Yannick.
Just so you know.
Just,
Yannick
public
will,
service announcement.
unfortunately, continue dispatch. So,
You got Brodrin DeVargo nearby Zephyr, who's having a conversation with your party, and you got the crossbow woman nearby Bickerstaff.
No, don't kill
I can
her.
see them where they're wanting to stop, right?
You could probably put Phelan down with 1 shot. If you want to take it. Just put it out there.
Confronting with the enemy.
Yeah, but I can see where it's... Yannick would want to put the whole thing to a stop.
Then you'd shoot the crossbow lady that's engaged with Bickerstaff. She's the only enemy left, right, DM?
That's entirely up to Yannick. She's the only enemy that was within this room when you originally entered it. Yes.
There we go.
So Yannick, who are you shooting?
I guess it's crossbow girl.
All right. Fire away.
Here we go. It's gonna be 25.
25
Yeah.
is going to hit. Roll that damage.
And it's gonna be 10 total.
10 total. Yannick, how do you want to do this?
Nice. Vickers is like, I want that 10 HP.
It's like, wait, did you have something to say? And bloop, and drops her.
As she drops completely outright, the combat comes to an end, and Yannick, there's a nervous scraping of metal behind you as Dodger is in a panic reaching for the red door. As Brodrin DeVargo is stepping into the room nearby, Zephyr, Phelan, Bickerstaff, and Yannick.
Dodger, no. No, Dodger. No. No.
No.
No.
And that's what we're going to pick up next week.
Young's like, all right, next target. Shoop.
Jeez. Oh, good.
Oh, man, that was action-packed.
Now we need interpretation. We need CB radios. Like, hey, dummy, no, don't shoot that. Hey, no, don't shoot that.
I know he looks like a bad guy, but trust me, he's actually a good guy.
No, he's not. He's a very bad person, but he's useful.
He's Zephyr kind of good guy. Not
He is actually a very bad person, but he's helping us over.
But he's also a bad person.
So don't kill him!
Yeah, as a member of the city guard, however, you would know that there's
a fine bounty on his
a
head.
wanted, what's a way?
You broke the glass, okay? You know, it's like emergency, you break glass. You know,
He's the kind of
like, okay, boom, 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 boom.
He's the
Oh,
kind of
shoot.
kingpin that the city
Point.
lets operate because he pays generously with his taxes. Effectively, there are no problems that come from his area of his reign, Eel's End, as it's known, a small dock in the city with a series of ships set up, casino,
This is what I
smoke
like to
shop.
call a useful criminal.
In
A useful criminal.
he's
Yeah.
got a small empire of his own, and the party can explain their relationship with him when Yannick has a chance to talk to the party. But from Yannick's point of view,
Small ambitions.
he's a known criminal that the city has not put a price on his head because he's effectively useful to the city.
Yeah, but in Jan's perspective,
That's entirely up to Yannick,
you know,
which is why I said might have to wait till next time to see what happens.
put a muzzle.
I'll tell you guys what, though, I think you are very, very, very close to leveling up.
Just gotta find Reed somewhere. Where the fuck is he?
Maybe.
Oh, damn it.
It was a disguise. Check inside the
I'm happy
office.
we got in around the monster. Like that was
very close.
gonna be
Very
bad.
close. Because Bickerstaff, on the turn that you made to close the door, he rolled a nat 1 on his perception check. Otherwise, he would have been effectively coming around behind the party.
Yeah, no, like if I had not if I had rolled well on the roll I got the natural 1 on, it would have been fine. But I didn't. And
It
so I
got
was just like,
dangerous.
oh no, he's gonna get in.
All because I fell in the water.
Yep.
Ah, it's fine. I got you.
Could have just stayed over there and been quiet the whole time and no one would have known, but nope, I tried to move.
But luckily, Cookie fed the beast, so it's probably sated. Probably doesn't have any sort of murder lust at all.
Oh, no.
Probably just gonna go. Probably.
I mean, Dodger's gonna try her chances with that over Broderick. So we'll see.
Yeah, that thing's right outside the door. If Dodger runs and Zephyr knows about it, Zephyr's going after her.
You're welcome to.
I get where you're coming from, but like if her sister's all in danger and she cared about her sister so much, like wouldn't she not run?
She also brought 4 people here that want Corbin Reed dead just as much as she does.
Oh,
And now
still.
6th person is entering the mix.
Like she wouldn't hide or something, you know?
Not when there's nowhere to hide, as
I don't
Yannick
know.
found out. Not a whole lot of good places for that.
I mean, running
Well,
away is
tune in
not
next
good
week
option.
to find out.
She knows the monster's out there. Like,
Yeah. We'll see.
And she's
I don't-
fancying her chances with it.
I guess.
That must mean the
There
spider is
she
like
is.
It also
extremely
means
dangerous.
running
She'll
away
take
from
it.
like where her sister's being held. So I don't know.
We'll see.
Maybe she has a plan.
Maybe she was lying. Maybe she doesn't have a sister.
Maybe.
Oh,
I'll never tell.
no.
Maybe this
Till
is a
next
distraction
weekend,
to do
anyways.
it.
Let's be honest, it'll probably be the week after, but still.
Yeah.
Dodger was just an illusion. She wasn't real at all.
Just like Garrett. Not real.
Right?
Oh my god.
Head.
Go one day, go on the
Yeah.
next. Last week, I got a text from him like 5 minutes before the game session, like, "Hey, I think it'd be cool if like Garrett were just to make like a random appearance nearby the party." I was like, "Okay, I could put him like in a cell. It's like a little hello." Then like just before the call started, he was like, "So I think I can play today." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's gonna change a few things." All right, Garrett's here. His gear is just outside of his cell from the guard that just confiscated it from him after his 3rd escape attempt. Here's the party. Surprise!
It was a surprise.
For all of us.
How is he so busy?
Kids these days.
Right?
He doesn't love us anymore.
Oh, oh man.
I'm gonna call it, guys. I'm really tired.
Yeah.
If no excuses time other than that.
Take up because we went long. So adios, folks.
A wonderful
Thanks for sticking around.
Bye.
See you Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Nick.
Oh yeah, this is fun.